Good evening, and welcome to week 36 of Plaguespeare and Company. Tonight, we are pleased to continue with Shakespeare's First Henriad with tonight's reading of the final chapter of Shakespeare's story of Henry VI, Henry VI, Part 3, to be exact, which continues where we left off with last week's Part 2. Part 3 sees the end of King Henry's reign and the beginning of King Edward IV's, and includes 4 major engagements of the Wars of the Roses, including the battles of Wakefield, Towton, Barnet, and Tewkesbury, and includes also one of the longest soliloquies in all of Shakespeare's plays. So grab your popcorn, tasty beverage, sit back, relax, and enjoy King Henry VI, Part 3.
I wonder how the king escaped our hands.
While we were pursued, the horsemen of the north, he slyly stole away and left his men. Whereat the great lord of Northumberland, whose warlike ears could never brook retreat, cheered up the drooping army, and himself, Lord Clifford and Lord Stafford, all abreast, charged our main battle's front, and breaking in were by the swords of common soldiers slain.
Lord Stafford's father, Duke of Buckingham, is either slain or wounded dangerous. I cleft his beaver with a downright blow. That this is true, father. Behold this blood.
And brother, here's the Earl of Wiltshire's blood, whom I'm encountered on as the battles joined.
Speak thou for me and tell them what I did.
Richard hath best deserved of all my sons. But is your grace dead, my lord of Somerset?
Such hope have all the line of John of Gaunt.
Thus do I hope to shake King Henry's head.
And so do I, victorious Prince of York. Before I see thee seated in that throne, which now the house of Lancaster usurps, I vow by heaven, these eyes shall never close. This is the palace of the fearful king, and this the rightful regal seat. Possess it, York, for this is thine and not King Henry's heirs.
Assist me then, sweet Warwick, and I will, for hither we have broken in by force.
We'll all assist you. He that flies shall die.
Thanks, gentle Norfolk. Stay by me, lords, and soldiers, stay and lodge by me this night.
And when the king comes, offer him no violence, unless he seeks to thrust you out perforce.
The queen this day here holds her parliament, but little thinks we shall be of her counsel. By words or blows, here let us win our right.
Armed as we are, let's stay within the house.
This bloody parliament shall be called, unless Plantagenet, Duke of York, be king, and blushful Henry deposed, whose cowardice hath made us bywords to our enemies.
Leave me not, my lords. Be resolute. I mean to take possession of my right.
Neither the king nor he that loves him best, the proudest he that holds up Lancaster, dare stir a wing if Warwick shake his bells. I'll plant Plantagenet, root him up who dares resolve thee. Richard, claim the English crown.
My lords, look where the sturdy rebel sits, even in the chair of state. Belike he means, backed by the power of Warwick, that false peer, to aspire upon the crown and reign as king. Earl of Northumberland, he slew thy father and thine, Lord Clifford, and you both have vowed revenge on him, his sons, his favorites, and his friends.
If I be not, heavens be revenged on me.
The hope thereof makes Clifford mourn and steal.
What? Shall we suffer this? Let's pluck him down. My heart for anger burns. I cannot brook it.
Be patient, gentle Earl of Westmoreland.
Patience is for poltroons such as he. He durst not sit there had your father lived. My gracious lord, here in the parliament let us assail the family of York.
Well hast thou spoken, cousin, be it so.
Know you not the city favors them, and they have troops of soldiers at their beck?
But when the Duke is slain, they'll quickly fly.
Far be the thought of this from Henry's heart, to make a shambles of the Parliament House. Cousin of Exeter, frowns, words, and threats shall be the war that Henry means to use. Thou factious Duke of York, descend my throne and kneel for grace and mercy at my feet. I am thy sovereign.
I am thine.
For shame, come down. He made thee Duke of York.
As was my inheritance, as the earldom was.
Thy father was a traitor to the crown.
Exeter, thou art a traitor to the crown in following this usurping Henry.
Who should he follow but the natural king?
True, Clifford, that's Richard, Duke of York.
And shall I stand? And thou sit in my throne?
It must and shall be so. Content thyself.
Be Duke of Lancaster. Let him be king.
He is both king and Duke of Lancaster, and that the Lord of Westmoreland shall maintain.
And Warwick shall disprove it. You forget that we are those who chased you from the field and slew your fathers, and with colors spread marched through the city to the palace gates.
Yes, Warwick, I remember it to my grief, and by his soul, thou and thy house shall rue it.
Plantagenet, of thee and these thy sons, thy kinsmen and thy friends, I'll have more lives than drops of blood were in my father's veins.
Urge it no more, lest that instead of words, I send thee, Warwick, such a messenger as shall revenge his death before I stir.
Poor Clifford, how I scorn his worthless threats.
Will you, we show our title to the crown? If not, our sword shall plead it in the field.
What title hast thou, traitor to the crown? Thy father was, as thou art, Duke of York. Thy grandfather, Roger Mortimer, Earl of March. I am the son of Henry the Fifth, who made the Dauphin and the French stoop and seized upon their towns and provinces.
Talk not of France, that thou hast lost it all.
The Lord Protector lost it, and not I. When I was crowned, I was but 9 months old.
Well, you are old enough now, and yet methinks you lose. Father, tear the crown from that usurper's head.
Sweet father, do so. Set it on your head.
Oh, good brother, as thou lovest and honorest arms, let's fight it out and not stand cavilling thus.
Oh, sound drums and trumpets, and the king will fly.
Sons, peace.
Peace, thou. And give King Henry leave to speak.
Plantagenet shall speak first. Hear him, lords, and be you silent and attentive too, for he that interrupts him shall not live.
Think'st thou that I will leave my kingly throne, wherein my grandsire and my father sat? No. First shall war unpeople this my realm, I, and their colors, often born in France, and now in England to our heart's great sorrow, shall be to my winding sheet. Why faint you, lords? My title's good and better far than his.
Prove it, Henry, and thou shalt be king.
Henry IV by conquest got the crown.
Was by rebellion against his king.
I know not what to say, my title's weak. Tell me, may not a king adopt an heir?
What then?
And if he may, then am I lawful king? For Richard, in the view of many lords, resigned the crown to Henry IV, whose heir my father was, and I am his.
He rose against him being his sovereign and made him to resign his crown perforce.
Suppose, my lords, he did it unconstrained. Think you twere prejudicial to the crown?
No, for he could not so resign his crown, but that the next heir should succeed in reign.
Art thou against us, Duke of Exeter?
His is the right, and therefore pardon me.
Why whisper you, my lords, and answer not?
My conscience tells me he is lawful king.
All will revolt from me and turn to him.
Plantagenet, for all the claim thou layest, think not that Henry shall be so deposed.
Deposed he shall be, and despitable.
Thou art deceived. 'Tis not thy southern power of Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk, nor of Kent, which makes thee thus presumptuous and proud, can set the Duke up in despite of me.
King Henry, be thy title right or wrong, Lord Clifford vows to fight in thy defense. May that ground gape and swallow me alive, where I shall kneel to him that slew my father.
Oh, Clifford, how thy words revive my heart.
Henry of Lancaster, resign thy crown. What mutter you, or what conspire you, lords?
Do right unto this princely Duke of York, or I will fill the house with armed men, and o'er the chair of state which now he sits, write up his title with usurping blood.
My lord of Warwick, hear but one word. Let me for this my lifetime reign as king.
Confirm the crown to me and to mine heirs, and thou shalt reign in quiet while thou livest.
I am content. Richard Plantagenet, enjoy the kingdom after my decease.
What wrong is this unto the prince your son?
What good is this to England and himself?
Base, fearful and despairing Henry.
How hast thou injured both thyself and us?
I cannot stay to hear these articles.
Nor I.
Come, cousin, let us tell the queen these news.
Farewell, faint-hearted and degenerate king, in whose cold blood no spark of honor bides.
Be thou a prey unto the house of York, and die in bands for this unmanly deed.
In dreadful war mayest thou overcome, or live in peace abandoned and despised.
Turn this way, Henry, and regard them not.
They seek revenge, and therefore will not yield.
Oh, Exeter.
Why should you sigh, my lord?
Not for myself, Lord Warwick, but my son, whom I unnaturally shall disinherit. But be it as it may, I here entail the crown to thee and to thine heirs forever. Conditionally, that here thou take an oath to cease this civil war, and whilst I live to honor me as thy king and sovereign, and neither by treason nor hostility to seek to put me down and reign thyself.
This oath I willingly take and will perform.
Long live King Henry. Plantagenet, embrace him.
Long live thou, and these thy forward sons.
Now York and Lancaster are reconciled.
Accursed be he that seeks to make them foes.
Farewell, my gracious lord, till my castle.
And I'll keep London with my soldiers.
And I unto the sea from whence I came.
And I, with grief and sorrow to the core.
Here comes the queen, whose looks bewray her anger. I'll steal away.
Exeter, so will I.
Nay, go not from me. I will follow thee.
Be patient, gentle queen, and I will stay.
Who can be patient in such extremes? Oh, wretched man, would I had died a maid and never seen thee, never borne thee a son, seeing how hast thou proved so unnatural a father? Hath he deserved to lose his birthright thus? Hadst thou but loved him half so well as I, or felt the pain which I did for him once, or nourished him as I did with my blood, thou wouldst have left thy dearest heart blood there, rather than have made that savage duke thine heir, and disinherited thine only son.
Pardon me, Margaret. Pardon me, sweet son. The Earl of Warwick and the Duke enforced me.
I enforced thee. Art thou king, and wilt be forced? I shame to hear thee speak. Ugh, timorous wretch, thou hast undone thyself, thy son, and me, and given unto the house of York such head as thou shalt reign but by their sufferance. To entail him and his heirs unto the crown, what is it? But to make thy sepulchre and creep into it far before thy time? Warwick is chancellor, and the Lord of Calais. A stern Falconbridge commands the narrow seas. The Duke is made protector of the realm, and yet shall thou be safe. Such safety finds the trembling lamb environed with wolves. Had I been there, which am a silly woman, the soldiers should have tossed me on their pikes before I would have granted to that act. Thou preferest thy life before thine honor, and seeing thou dost, I here divorce myself, both from thy table, Henry, and thy bed, until that act of Parliament be repealed, whereby my son is disinherited. The northern lords that have forsworn thy colors will follow mine, if once they see them spread. And spread they shall be to thy foul disgrace and utter ruin of the house of York. Thus do I leave thee. Come, son, let's away. Our army is ready. Come, we'll after them.
Stay, gentle Margaret, and hear me speak.
Thou hast spoke too much already. Get thee gone.
Gentle son, Edward, wilt thou stay with me?
I to be murdered by his enemies.
When I return with victory from the field, I'll see your grace. Till then, I'll follow her.
Oh, come, son, away. We may not linger thus.
Poor queen, how love to me and to her son hath made her break out into terms of rage. Revenged may she be on that hateful duke, whose haughty spirit, winged with desire, will cost my crown, and like an empty eagle tire on the flesh of me and of my son. The loss of those 3 lords torments my heart. I'll write unto them and entreat them fair. Come, cousin, you shall be the messenger.
And I hope shall reconcile them all.
Brother, though I be youngest, give me leave.
No, I can better play the orator.
But I have reasons strong and forcible.
Why, how now, sons and brother, at a strife? What is your quarrel? I'll begin it first.
No quarrel, but a slight contention.
About what?
About that which concerns your grace and us, the crown of England, father, which is yours.
Mine, boys. Not till King Henry be dead.
Your right depends not on his life or death.
Now you are heir, therefore enjoy it now. By giving the house of Lancaster leave to breathe, it will outrun you, father, in the end.
I took an oath that he should quietly reign.
But for a kingdom, any oath may be broken. I would break 1,000 oaths to reign 1 year.
No. God forbid your grace should be forsworn.
I shall be if I claim by open war.
I'll prove the contrary if you hear me speak.
Now thou canst not, son. It is impossible.
An oath is of no moment. Be not took before a true and lawful magistrate that hath authority over him that swears. Henry had none, but did usurp the place. Then seeing 'twas he that made you to depose, your oath, my lord, is vain and frivolous. Therefore, to arms. And father, do but think how sweet a thing it is to wear a crown within whose circuit is Elysium, and all that poets feign of bliss and joy. Why do we linger thus? I cannot rest until the white rose that I wear be dyed even in the lukewarm blood of Henry's heart.
Richard, enough. I will be king or die. Brother, thou shalt to London presently and wed on Warwick to this enterprise. Thou, Richard, shalt to the Duke of Norfolk, tell him privily of our intent. You, Edward, shall unto my Lord Cobham, with whom the Kentishmen will willingly rise. In them I trust, for they are soldiers, witty, courteous, liberal, full of spirit. While you are thus employed, what restoreth more but that I seek occasion how to rise, and yet the king not privy to my drift, nor any of the house of Lancaster. But stay, what news? Why comest thou in such post?
The queen, with all the northern earls and lords, intend here to besiege you in your castle. She is hard by with 20,000 men, and therefore fortify your hold, my lord.
Aye, with my sword. What, thinkst thou that we fear them? Edward and Richard, you shall stay with me. My brother Montague shall post to London. Let noble Warwick, Cobham, and the rest, whom we have left protectors of the king, with powerful policy strengthen themselves, and trust not simple Henry nor his oaths.
Brother, I go. I'll win them. Fear it not. And thus most humbly I do take my leave.
Ah, Sir John and Sir Hugh Mortimer, mine uncles, you are come to Sandal in a happy hour. The army of the queen mean to besiege us.
She shall not need. We'll meet her in the field.
What, with 5,000 men?
Oh, aye, with 500, father, for a need, a woman's general? What should we fear?
I hear the drums. Let's set our men in order and issue forth and bid them battle straight.
5 men to 20. Though the odds be great, I doubt not, uncle, of our victory. Many a battle have I won in France, when as the enemy hath been 10 to 1. Why should I not now have the like success?
whither shall I fly to escape their hands? Ah, Tutor, look where bloody Clifford comes.
Chaplain, away. Thy priesthood saves thy life. As for the brat of this accursed duke, whose father slew my father, he shall die.
And I, my lord, will bear him company.
Soldiers, away with him.
Ah, Clifford, murder not this innocent child, lest thou be hated both of God and man.
Oh no, is he dead already? Or is it fear that makes him close his eyes? I'll open them.
So looks the pent-up lion o'er the wretch that trembles under his devouring paws. And so he walks insulting o'er his prey, and so he comes to rend his limbs asunder. Gentle Clifford, kill me with thy sword, and not with such a cruel, threatening look. Sweet Clifford, hear me speak before I die. I am too mean a subject for thy wrath. Be thou revenged on men, and let me live.
In vain thou speakest. Oh, poor boy. My father's blood hath stopped the passage where thy words should enter.
Then let my father's blood open it again. He is a man, and Clifford, cope with him.
Had I thy brethren here, their lives and thine were not revenge sufficient for me. No, if I digged up thy forefathers' graves and hung their rotten coffins from the chains, it could not slack mine ire nor ease my heart. It is the sight of any house of York is a fury to torment my soul until I root out their accursed line and leave it not one alive. I live in hell. Therefore...
Oh, let me pray before I take my death. To thee, I pray, sweet Clifford, pity me.
Such pity as my rapier's point afford.
I never did thee harm. Why wilt thou slay me?
Thy father hath.
But 'twas ere I was born. Thou hast one son, for his sake. Pity me, lest in revenge thereof, sith God is just, he be as miserably slain as I. Let me live in prison all my days, and when I give occasion of offense, then let me die, for now thou hast no cause.
No cause? Thy father slew my father. Therefore, die.
Di voucha laudis summa sitista due.
Plantagenet, I come. Plantagenet, this is thy son's blood cleaving from my blade shall rust upon my weapon till thy blood congealed with this. Do make me wipe off both.
The army of the Queen have got the field. My uncles both are slain in rescuing me, and all my followers to the eagle foe turn back and fly, like ships before the wind, or lambs pursued by hunger-starved wolves. My sons, God knows what hath bechanced them. But this I know, they have demeaned themselves like men born to renown by life or death. 3 times did Richard make a lane to me, and thrice cried, "Courage, father, fight it out!" And full as oft came Edward to my side with purple falchion painted to the hilt in blood of those that had encountered him. And when the hardiest warriors did retire, Richard cried, "Charge, and give no foot of ground!" And cried, "A crown or else a glorious tomb, a scepter or an earthly sepulchre." With this we charged again, but out, alas, we bodged again. As I have seen a swan with bootless labor swim against the tide and spend her strength with o'ermatching waves. Oh, hark. The fatal followers do pursue, and I am faint and cannot fly their fury. And were I strong, I would not shun their fury. The sands are numbered that makes up my life, and here must I stay. And here my life must end. Come, bloody Clifford, rough Northumberland, I dare your quenchless fury to more rage. I am your butt, and I abide your shot.
Yield to our mercy, proud Plantagenet.
Aye, to such mercy as his ruthless arm with downward payment showed unto my father. Now Phaeton hath tumbled out from his car and made an evening at the noontide prick.
My ashes, as the phoenix, may bring forth a bird that will revenge upon you all. And in that hope I throw mine eyes to heaven, scorning whate'er you can afflict me with. Why come you not? What, multitudes and fear?
So cowards fight when they can fly no further. So doves do peck the falcon's piercing talons. So desperate thieves, all hopeless of their lives, breathe out invectives against the officers.
Oh, Clifford, but bethink thee once again, and in thy thought o'errun my former time. And if thou canst for blushing view this face, and bite thy tongue that slanders him with cowardice, whose frown hath made thee faint, and fly ere this.
I will not bandy with thee word for word, but buckler with thee blows, twice 2 for 1.
Hold, valiant Clifford. For 1,000 causes I would prolong a while the traitor's life. Wrath makes him deaf. Speak, thou Northumberland.
Hold, Clifford, do not honor him so much to prick thy finger, though to wound his heart. What valor were't when a cur doth grin for one to thrust his hand between his teeth, when he might spurn him with his foot away? It is war's prize to take all vantages, and 10 to 1 is no impeach of valor.
Aye, so strives the woodcock with the gin.
So doth the coney struggled in the net.
So triumph thieves upon their conquered booty. So true men yield with robbers so o'ermatched.
What would your grace have done unto him now?
Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland, come make him stand upon this molehill here, that wrought at mountains with outstretched arms, yet parted but the shadow with his hand. What? Was it you that would be England's king? Was it you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Where are your mess of sons to back you now? The wanton Edward and the lusty George? And where's that valiant crook, that prodigy, Dicky, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in mutinies? Or with the rest? Where is your darling Rutland? Look, York, I stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford with his rapier's point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can water for his death, I give thee this to dry thy cheeks withal. Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I prithee grieve to make me merry, York. What hath thy fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Why art thou patient, man? Thou shouldst be mad, and I, to make thee mad, do mock thee thus. Stand, rave, and fret, that I may sing and dance. Thou wouldst be feed, I see, to make me sport. York cannot speak unless he wear a crown. A crown for York. And lords, bow low to him. Hold you his hands whilst I do set it on. Marry, sir, now he looks like a king. Aye, this is he that took King Henry's chair, and this is he was his adopted heir. But how is it that great Plantagenet is so crowned so soon and broke his solemn oath? As I bethink me, you should not be king till our King Henry had shook hands with death. And will you pale your head in Henry's glory and rob his temples of the diadem now in his life against your holy oath? Oh, 'tis a fault too unpardonable. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head, and whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead.
That is my office for my father's sake.
Nay, stay. Let's hear the orisons he makes.
Ye wolf of France, but worse than wolves of France, whose tongue more poisons than the adder's tooth. How ill beseeming is it thy sex to triumph like an Amazonian trull upon their woes whom fortune captivates. But that thy face is vizard-like, unchanging, made impudent with use of evil deeds, I would essay, proud queen, to make thee blush, to tell thee whence thou camest, of whom derived, were shame enough to shame thee, wert thou not shameless. Thy father bears the type of King of Naples, of both the Sicils and Jerusalem, yet not so wealthy as an English yeoman. Hath that poor monarch taught thee to insult? It needs not, nor it boots thee not, proud queen, unless the adage must be verified, that beggars mounted run their horse to death. 'Tis beauty that oft doth make women proud, but God knows thy share of is small. 'Tis virtue that doth make them most admired. The contrary doth make thee wondered at. 'Tis government that makes them seem divine, and want thereof makes thee abominable. Thou art as opposite to every good as the Antipodes are unto us, or as the South to the Septentrion. O tiger's heart wrapped in a woman's hide. How couldst thou drain the lifeblood of the child to bid the father wipe his eyes withal, and yet be seen to wear a woman's face? Women are soft, mild, pitiful, and flexible. Thou stern, obdurate, flinty, rough, remorseless, bidst thou me rage? Why now thou hast thy wish! Wouldst have me weep? Why now thou hast thy will! For raging wind blows up incessant showers, and when the rage allays, the rain begins. These tears are my sweet Rutland's obsequies, and every drop cries vengeance for his death against thee, fell Clifford, and thee, false Frenchwoman.
Beshrew me, but his passions move me so that hardly can I check my eyes from tears.
That face of his the hungry cannibals would not have touched, would not have stained with blood, but you are more inhuman, more inexorable, oh, 10 times more than tigers of Hyrcania. See, ruthless queen, a hapless father's tears. This cloth thou dipst in blood of my sweet boy, and I with tears do wash the blood away. Keep thou the napkin, and go boast of this. And if thou tell'st the heavy story right, upon my soul thy hearers will shed tears. Yea, even my foes will shed fast falling tears, and say, alas, it was a piteous deed. There, take the crown, and with the crown my curse. And in thy need such comfort come to thee as now I reap at thy too cruel hand. Hard-hearted Clifford, take me from the world, my soul to heaven, my blood upon your heads.
Had he been slaughterman to all my kin, I should not for my life but weep with him, to see how inly sorrow grips his soul.
What? Weeping right, my Lord Northumberland? Think but upon the wrong he did us all, and that will quickly dry thy melting tears.
Here's for my oath. Here's for my father's death.
And here's to our right, our gentle-hearted king.
Open thy gate of mercy, gracious God. My soul flies through these wounds to seek out thee.
Off with his head, and set it on York gates, so York may overlook the town of York.
Wonder how our princely father scaped, or whether he be scaped away or no, from Clifford's and Northumberland's pursuit. Had he been ta'en, we should have heard the news. Had he been slain, we should have heard the news. Or had he escaped, methinks we should have heard the happy tidings of his good escape. How fares my brother? Why is he so sad?
I cannot joy until I be resolved where our right valiant father is become. I saw him in battle range about, and watched him how he singled Clifford forth. Methought he bore him in the thickest troop, as doth a lion in a herd of meat, or as a bear, encompassed round with dogs, who having pinched a few and made them cry, the rest stand all aloof and bark at him. So fared our father with his enemies, so fled his enemies, my warlike father. Methinks 'tis prize enough to be his son. See how the morning opes her golden gates and takes her farewell of the glorious sun. How well resembles it the prime of youth, trimmed like a yonker, prancing to his love.
Dazzle mine eyes, or do I see 3 suns?
3 glorious suns, each one a perfect sun, not separated with the racking clouds, but severed in a pale, clear, shining sky. See, they join, embrace, and seem to kiss, as if they vowed some league inviolable. Now are they but one lamp, one light, one sun. In this the heaven figures some event.
'Tis wondrous strange, the like yet never heard of. I think it cites us, brother, to the field, that we, the sons of brave Plantagenet, each one already blazing by our meads, should notwithstanding join our lights together, and overshine the earth as this the world. Whate'er it bodes, henceforth will I bear upon my target 3 fair shining suns.
Nay, they're 3 daughters. By your leave I speak it. You love the breeder better than the male. But what art thou whose heavy looks foretell some dreadful story hanging on thy tongue?
One that was a woeful looker on, when as the noble Duke of York was slain. Your princely father, and my loving lord.
Speak no more, for I have heard too much.
Say how he died, for I will hear it all.
Environed he was with many foes, and stood against them as the hope of Troy against the Greeks that would have entered Troy. But Hercules himself must yield to odds, and many strokes, though with a little axe hews down and fells the hardest timbered oak. By many hands your father was subdued, but only slaughtered by the ireful arm of unrelenting Clifford and the queen, who crowned the gracious duke in high despite, laughed in his face, and when with grief he wept, the ruthless queen gave him to dry his cheeks a napkin steeped in the harmless blood of sweet young Rutland, by rough Clifford slain. And after many scorns, many foul taunts, they took his head, and on the gates of York they set the same, and there it doth remain, the saddest spectacle that e'er I viewed.
Sweet Duke of York, or prop to lean upon. Now thou art gone, we have no staff, no stay. Oh, Clifford, boisterous Clifford, thou hast slain the flower of Europe for his chivalry, and treacherously thou hast vanquished him. For hand to hand he would have vanquished thee. Now my soul's palace has become a prison. Oh, would she break from hence, that this my body might be in the ground, be closed up and rest. For never henceforth shall I joy again. Never. Oh, never shall I see more joy.
Cannot weep. For all my body's moisture scarce serves to quench my furnace burning heart. Nor can my tongue unload my heart's great burden, for selfsame wind that I should speak withal is kindling coals that fires all my breast, and burns me up with flames that tears would quench. To weep is to make less the depth of grief. Tears then for babes, blows, and revenge for me. Richard, I bear thy name. I'll venge thy death, or die renowned by attempting it.
His name that valiant duke hath left with thee. His dukedom and his chair with me is left.
Nay, if thou be that princely eagle's bird, show thy descent by gazing against the sun. For chair and dukedom, throne and kingdom, say either that is thine, or else thou wert not his.
How now, fair lords? What fare? What news from abroad?
Great Lord of Warwick, if we should recount our baleful news and at each one's deliverance stab poignards in our flesh till all were told, the words would add more anguish than the wounds. Oh, valiant Lord, the Duke of York is slain.
Oh, Warwick. Warwick, that Plantagenet which held thee dearly as his soul's redemption is by the stern Lord Clifford done to death.
10 days ago, I drowned these news in tears, and now, to add more measure to your woes, I come to tell you things sith then befallen. After the bloody fray at Wakefield fought, where your brave father breathed his latest gasp, tidings as swiftly as the post could run were brought me of your loss and his depart. I then in London, keeper of the king, mustered my soldiers, gathered flocks of friends, and very well appointed, as I thought, marched towards St. Albans to intercept the queen, bearing the king in my behalf all along. For by my scouts I was advertised that she was coming with a full intent to dash the late decree in Parliament touching King Henry's oath and your succession. Short tale to make, we at St. Albans met, our battles joined, and both sides fiercely fought. But whether 'twas the coldness of the king who looked full gently on his warlike queen that robbed my soldiers of their heated spleen, or whether 'twas report of her success, or more than common fear of Clifford's rigor, whose thunder to his captives' blood and death I cannot judge. But to conclude with truth, our soldiers, their weapons of lightning came and went. Our soldiers, like the night owl, lazy flight, or like an idle thresher with a flail, fell gently down as if they had struck their friends. I cheered them up with justice of our cause, with promise of high pay and great rewards, but all in vain. They had no heart to fight, and we, in them, no hope to win the day. Lord George, your brother, Norfolk, and myself, in haste post haste, are come to join with you, for in the marches here we heard you were making another head to fight again.
Where is the Duke of Norfolk, gentle Warwick? And when came George from Burgundy to England?
Some 6 miles off, the Duke is with the soldiers, and for your brother, he was lately sent from your kind aunt, Duchess of Burgundy, with aid of soldiers for this needful war.
'Twas odds belike when valiant Warwick fled. Oft have I heard his praises in pursuit, but ne'er till now his scandal of retire.
Now for my scandal, Richard, dost thou hear that? For thou shalt know this strong right hand of mine can pluck the diadem from faint Henry's head and wring the awful scepter from his fist, were he as famous and bold from in war as he is famed for mildness, peace, and prayer.
Oh, I know it well, Lord Warwick, blame me not. 'Tis love I bear thy glories make me speak. But in this troublous time, what's to be done? Shall we go throw away our coats of steel and wrap our bodies in black mourning gowns, numbering our Ave Marias with our beads? Or shall we on the helmets of our foes tell our devotion with revengeful arms? If for the last say aye, and to it, lords.
Why therefore Warwick came to seek you out, and therefore comes my brother Montague. Attend me, lords, the proud insulting queen with Clifford and the hot Northumberland, and of their feather many more proud birds have wrought the easy melting king like wax. He swore consent to your succession, his oath enrolled in Parliament. Now to London all the crew are gone, to frustrate both his oath and what beside may make against the house of Lancaster. Their power, I think, 30,000 strong. Now, if the help of Norfolk and myself with all friends that thou, brave Earl of March, amongst the loving Welshmen canst procure, will about to 25,000. Why, via to London will we march, and once again bestride our foaming steeds, and once again cry charge upon our foes, but never once again turn back and fly.
Aye, now methinks I hear great Warwick speak. Ne'er may he live to see a sunshine day that cries retire, if Warwick bid him stay.
Lord Warwick, on thy shoulder will I lean. And when thou failst, as God forbid the hour, must Edward fall, which peril heaven forfend.
No longer Earl of March, but Duke of York. The next degree in is England to England's royal throne. For King of England shalt thou be proclaimed in every borough as we pass along, and he that throws not up his cap for joy shall for the fault make forfeit of his head. King Edward, valiant Richard, Montague, stay we no longer dreaming of renown, but sound the trumpets and about our task.
Then, Clifford, where thy heart is hard as steel, as thou hast shown it, flinty by thy deeds, I come to pierce it, or to give thee mine.
Then strike up drums. God and St. George for us!
How now? What news?
Duke of Norfolk sends you word by me, the queen is coming with a puissant host, and craves your company for speedy counsel.
Why then it sorts, brave warriors, let's away.
Welcome, my lord, to this brave town of York. Yonder's the head of that arch enemy that sought to be the encompassed with your crown. Doth not the object cheer your heart, my lord?
Aye, as the rocks cheer them that fear their wrack. To see this sight, it irks my very soul. Withhold revenge, dear God, 'tis not my fault, nor wittingly have I infringed my vow.
My gracious liege, this too much lenity and harmful pity must be laid aside. To whom do lions cast their gentle looks? Not the beast that would usurp their den, whose hand is that the forest bear doth lick. Not his that spoils her young before her face, who escapes the lurking serpent's mortal sting. Not he that sets his foot upon her back. The smallest worm will turn, being trodden on, and doves will peck in safeguard of their brood. Ambitious York did level at thy crown. Thou smiling while he did knit his angry brows. He, but a duke, would have his son a king and raise his issue like a loving sire. Thou, being a king blessed with a goodly son, didst yield consent to disinherit him, which argued thee a most unloving father. Unreasonable creatures feed their young, and though man's face may be fearful in their eyes, yet in protection of their loved one, of their tender ones, who hath not seen them, even with whose wings which make sometime they have us with fearful flight make war with him that climbed unto their nest, offering their own lives in their young's defense? For shame, my liege, make them your president. Were it not pity that this goodly boy should lose his birthright by his father's fault, and long hereafter say unto his child, what my great-grandfather and grandsire got, my careless father fondly gave away. Oh, what a shame were this. Look on thy boy, and let his manly face, which promises successful fortune, steel thy meddling heart to hold thine own and leave thine own with him.
Full well hath Clifford played the orator, inferring arguments of mighty force. But Clifford, tell me, didst thou never hear that things ill got had ever bad success? And happy always was it for that son whose father for his hoarding went to hell? I'll leave my son, my virtuous deeds behind, and would my father had left me no more. For all the rest is held at such a rate as brings 1,000-fold more care to keep than in possession any jot of pleasure. Oh, cousin York, would thy best friends did know how it doth grieve me that thy head is here.
My lord, cheer up your spirits. Our foes are nigh, and this soft courage makes your followers faint. You promised knighthood to our forward son. Unsheathe your sword and dub him presently. Edward Neiltown.
Edward Plantagenet. Arise, a knight, and learn this lesson. Draw thy sword in right.
My gracious father, by your kingly leave, I'll draw it as a parent to the crown, and in the quarrel use it to the death.
Why, that is spoken like a twar prince.
Royal commanders, be in readiness, for with a band of 30,000 men comes Warwick, backing of the Duke of York, and in the towns as they do march along, proclaims him king. And many fly to him, to reign your battle, for they are at hand.
I would your highness would depart the field. The queen has best success when you are absent.
Aye, good my lord, and leave us to our fortune.
Why, that's my fortune too, therefore I'll stay.
Be it with resolution then to fight.
My royal father, cheer these noble lords, and hearten those that fight in your defense. Unsheathe your sword, good father, and cry, St. George!
Now, perjured Henry, wilt thou kneel for grace and set thy diadem upon my head, or bide the mortal fortune of the field?
Go rate thy minions, proud insulting boy. Becomes it thee to be thus bold in terms before thy sovereign and thy lawful king?
I am his king, and he should bow his knee. I was adopted heir by his consent, since when his oath is broke. For, as I hear, you that are king, though he do wear the crown, have caused him, by new act of parliament, to blot out me and put his own son in.
And reason too. Who should succeed the father but the son?
Are you there, butcher? Oh, I cannot speak.
I crook back. Here I stand to answer to thee, or any he the proudest of thy sword.
'Twas you that killed young Rutland, was it not?
Aye, and old York, and yet not satisfied.
For God's sake, lords, give signal to the fight!
What sayst thou, Henry? Wilt thou yield the crown?
Why, how now, long-tongued Warwick? dare you speak? When you and I met at St. Albans last, your legs did better service than your hands.
Then 'twas my turn to fly, now 'tis thine.
You said so much before, and yet you fled.
'Twas not your valor, Clifford, drove me thence.
No, nor your manhood that durst make you stay.
Cumberland, I hold thee reverently. Break off the parley, for scarce I can refrain the execution of my big swollen heart upon that Clifford, that cruel child killer.
I slew thy father, thou callst him a child?
Oh, aye, like a dastard and a treacherous coward, as thou didst kill our tender brother Rutland. But ere sunset, I'll make thee curse the deed.
Have done with words, my lords, and hear me speak.
Defy them then, or else hold close thy lips.
I prithee give no limits to my tongue. I am a king and privileged to speak.
My liege, that bred this meeting here cannot be cured by words. Therefore be still.
Then, executioner, unsheathe thy sword. By him that made us all, I am resolved that Clifford's manhood lies upon his tongue.
Say, Henry, shall I have my right or no? 1,000 men have broke their fasts today that ne'er shall dine unless thou yield the crown.
If thou deny, their blood upon thy head. For York in justice puts his armor on.
If that be right, which Warwick says is right, there is no wrong, but everything is right.
Whoever got thee, there thy mother stands, for well I wot thou hast thy mother's tongue.
But thou art neither like thy sire nor dam, but like a foul, misshapen stigmatic, marked by the destinies to be avoided, as venom toads or lizards' dreadful stings.
Iron of Naples hid with English guilt, whose father bears the title of a king, as if a channel should be called the sea. Shamest thou not, knowing whence thou art extraught, to let thy tongue detect thy base-born heart?
A wisp of straw were worth 1,000 crowns to make this shameless collet know herself. Helen of Greece was fairer far than thou, although thy husband may be Menelaus, and ne'er was Agamemnon's brother wronged by that false woman as this king by thee. His father reveled in the heart of France and tamed the king and made the Dauphin stoop, and had he matched according to his state, he might have kept that glory to this day. But when he took a beggar to his bed and graced thy poor sire with his bridal day, even then that sunshine brewed a shower for him, and that washed his father's fortunes forth of France and heaped sedition on his crown at home. For what hath broached this tumult but thy pride? Hadst thou been meek, our title still had slept, and we, in pity of the gentle king, had slipped our claim until another age.
But when we saw our sunshine made thy spring, and that thy summer brought us no increase, we set the axe to thy usurping root. And thou, the edge, hath something hit ourselves. Yet know thou, since we have begun to strike, we'll never leave till we have hewn thee down or bathed thy growing with our heated bloods.
And in this resolution I defy thee, not willing any longer conference. Since thou deniedst the gentle king to speak, sound trumpets, let our bloody colors wave, and either victory or else a grave.
Stay, Edward.
No, wrangling woman will no longer stay. These words will cost 10,000 lives this day.
Spent with toil, as runners with the race, I lay me down a little while to breathe. For strokes received and many blows repaid have robbed my strong knit sinews of their strength. And spite of spite, needs must I rest a while.
Smile, gentle heaven, or strike on gentle death, for this world frowns and Edward's sun is clouded.
How now, my lord, what hap? What hope of good?
Our hap is loss, our hope but sad despair. Our ranks are broke and ruin follows us. What counsel give you? Whither should we fly?
Bootless is flight. They follow us with wings, and weak we are that cannot shun pursuit.
Ah, Warwick, why hast thou withdrawn thyself? Thy brother's blood the thirsty earth hath drunk, broached with the steely point of Clifford's lance. And in the very pains of death he cried like to a dismal clangor heard from afar, Warwick, revenge! Brother, revenge my death! So underneath the belly of their steeds that stained their fetlocks in his smoking blood, the noble gentleman gave up the ghost.
Then let the earth be drunken with our blood. I'll kill my horse because I will not fly. Why stand we like soft-hearted women here, wailing our losses whilst the foe doth rage, and look upon us as if the tragedy were a play in jest by counterfeiting actors? Here on my knees I vow to God above, I'll never pause again, never stand still, till either death hath closed these eyes of mine, or fortune given me measure for revenge.
Oh, Warwick, I do bend my knee with thine, and in this vow do chain my soul to thine. And ere my knees rise from the earth's cold face, I throw my hands, mine eyes, my heart to thee, thou setter up and plucker down of kings, beseeching thee, if with thy will it stands, that to my foes this body must be prey. Yet thy brazen gates of heaven may open, give sweet passage to my sinful soul. Now, lords, take leave until we meet again, where'er it be, in heaven or in earth.
Brother, give me thy hand, and gentle Warwick, let me embrace thee in my weary arms, I that did never weep, now melt with woe that winter should cut off our springtime sow.
Away, away, once more, sweet lords, farewell.
Yet let us all together to our troops, and give them leave to fly that will not stay, and call them pillars that will stand with us. And if we thrive, promise them such rewards as victors wear at the Olympian Games. This may plant courage in their quailing breasts, for yet is hope of life and victory. Forslow no longer, make we hence amain.
Now, Clifford, I have singled thee alone. Suppose this arm is for the Duke of York, and this for Rutland, both bound to revenge, wert thou environed with a brazen wall.
Now, Richard, I am with thee here alone, and this is the hand that stabbed thy father York, and this is the hand that slew thy brother Rutland. And here's the heart that triumphs in their deaths, and cheers these hands that slew thy sire and brother to execute the like upon thyself. So, have at thee!
Nay, Warwick, single out some other chase, for I myself will hunt this wolf to death.
This battle fares like to the morning's war, when dying clouds contend with growing light. What time the shepherd, blowing of his nails, can neither call it perfect day nor night. Now sways it this way, like a mighty sea, forced by the tide to combat with the wind. Now it sways that way, like the self-same sea, forced to retire by fury of the wind. Sometime the flood prevails, and then the wind. Now one the better, then another best, both tugging to be victors breast to breast, yet neither conqueror nor conquered. So is the equal poise of this fell war. Here on this molehill will I sit me down. To whom God will, there be the victory. For Margaret, my queen, and Clifford too, have chid me from the battle, swearing both they prosper best of all when I am thence. Would I were dead. But if God's goodwill were so, for what is in this world but grief and woe? Oh God. Methinks it were a happy life, to be no better than a homely swain, to sit upon a hill, as I do now. Carve out dials quaintly, point by point, thereby to see the minutes how they run. How many makes the hour full complete? How many hours bring about the day? How many days will finish up the year? How many years a mortal man may live? When this is known, then to divide the times, so many hours must I tend my flock, so many hours must I take my rest, so many hours must I contemplate, so many hours must I sport myself. So many days my hues have been with young, so many weeks ere the poor fools will e'en. So many years ere I shall shear the fleece. So minutes, hours, days, months, and years passed over to the end they were created would bring white hairs unto a quiet grave. What a life were this! How sweet, how lovely. Gives not the hawthorn bush a sweeter shade to shepherds looking on their silly sheep than doth a rich embroidered canopy to kings that fear their subjects' treachery? Oh yes, it doth. 1,000-fold it doth. And to conclude, the shepherd's homely curds, his cold thin drink out of his leather bottle, his wanted sleep under a fresh tree's shade, all which secure and sweetly he enjoys, is far beyond a prince's delicates. His viands sparkling in a golden cup, his body couched in a curious bed, when care, mistrust, and treason waits on him.
Ill blows the wind that profits nobody. This man, whom hand to hand I slew in fight, may be possessed with some store of crowns, and I that happily take them from him now may yet, ere night, yield both my life and them to some man else, as this dead man doth me. Who is this? Oh, God. It is my father's face, whom in this conflict I, unawares, have killed. Oh, heavy times begetting such events. From London by the king was I pressed forth, my father being the Earl of Warwick's man, came on the part of York, pressed by his master, and I, who at his hands received my life, have by my hands of life bereaved him. Pardon me, God, I knew not what I did, and pardon, Father, for I knew not thee. My tears shall wipe away these bloody marks, and no more words till they have flowed their fill.
Oh, piteous spectacle. Oh, bloody times. Whiles lions war in battle for their dens, poor harmless lambs abide their enmity. Weep, wretched man. I'll aid thee tear for tear. and let our hearts and eyes, like civil war, be blind with tears and break, charged with grief.
Thou that so stoutly hast resisted me, give me thy gold, if thou hast any gold, for I have bought it with 100 blows. But let me see, is this our foeman's face? Oh, no. No, it is mine only son. Ah, boy, if there be any life left in thee, throw up thine eye. See what showers arise, blown with the windy tempest of my heart upon my wounds, that kills mine eye and heart. Pity God, this miserable age. What stratagems, how fell, how butcherly, erroneous, multitudinous, and unnatural, this deadly quarrel daily doth beget. Oh boy, thy father gave thee life too soon, and have bereft thee of thy life too late.
Woe above woe, grief more than common grief. Oh, that my death would stay these ruthful deeds. Oh, pity, gentle heaven, pity. The red rose and the white are on his face. The fatal colors of our striving houses, the one his purple blood right well resembles. The other his pale cheeks, methinks, presenteth. Wither one rose and let the other flourish. If you contend 1,000 lives, it must wither.
How will my mother for a father's death take on with me and ne'er be satisfied?
Or will my wife for slaughter of my son shed seas of tears and ne'er be satisfied?
How will the country for these woeful chances misthink the king and not be satisfied?
Was ever son so rued a father's death?
Was ever father so bemoaned his son?
Was ever king so grieved for subjects' woe? Much is your sorrow, mine 10 times so much.
I'll bear thee hence, where I may weep my fill.
These arms of mine shall be thy winding sheet. My heart, sweet boy, shall be thy sepulchre. For from my heart thine image ne'er shall go. My sighing breast shall be thy funeral bell. And so obsequious will thy father be e'en for the loss of thee, having no more, as Priam was for all his valiant sons. I'll bear the ends, and let them fight that will. For I have murdered where I shall not kill.
Oh. Sad-hearted men, much overgone with care. Here sits a king more woeful than you are.
Fly, father, fly, for all your friends are fled, and Warwick rages like a chased ball away, for death doth hold us in pursuit.
Mount you, my lord, towards Barrett coast amain, Edward and Richard like a brace of greyhounds, having the fearful flying hare in sight, with fiery eyes sparkling for very wrath and bloody steel grasp, and their ireful hands are at our backs, and therefore hence amain.
Away, for vengeance comes along with them. Nay, stay not to expostulate. Make speed, or else come after. I'll away before.
Nay, take me with thee, good sweet Exeter. Not that I fear to stay, but love to go whither the queen intends. Forward, away!
Here burns out my candle. Here it dies, which while it lasted gave King Henry light. O Lancaster, I fear thy overthrow more than my body's parting with my soul. My love and fear glued many friends to thee, and now I fall. Thy tough commixtures melts, impairing Henry, strengthening Miss Proud York. The common people swarm like summer flies, and whither fly but gnats but to the sun? And who shines now but Henry's enemies? O Phoebus, hadst thou never given consent that Phaeton should check thy fiery steeds, thy burning car never had scorched the earth. And Henry, hast thou swayed as kings should do, or as thy father and his father did, giving no ground unto the house of York? They never then had sprung like summer flies. I and 10,000 in this luckless realm have left no mourning widows for our death, and thou this day hast kept their chair in peace. For what doth cherish weeds but gentle air? And what makes robbers bold but too much lenity? Bootless are plants, and cureless are my wounds. No way to fly, nor strength to hold out flight. The flow is merciless and will not pity, for at their hands I have deserved no pity. The air hath got much into my deadly wounds, and much effuse of blood doth make me faint. Come, York and Richard, Warwick and the rest. I stab your father's bosoms, split my breast.
Now breathe we, lords, good fortune bids us pause, and smooth the frowns of war with peaceful looks. Some troops pursue the bloody-minded queen that led calm Henry, though he were a king, as doth a sail filled with a fretting gust command an argosy to stem the waves. But think you, lords, that Clifford fled with them?
Oh, 'tis impossible. Impossible he should escape. From through before his face I speak the words, your brother Richard marked him for the grave, and wherefore'er he is, he's surely dead.
Whose soul is this that takes her heavy leave? A deadly groan like life and death's departing. Oh, see who it is!
And now the battle's ended. If friend or foe, let him be gently used.
Oh, revoke that doom of mercy, for 'tis Clifford, who not contented that he lopped the branch in hewing Rutland when his leaves put forth, but set his murdering knife unto the root from whence that tender spray did sweetly spring. I mean our princely father, Duke of York.
From off the gates of York fetch down the head, your father's head, which Clifford placed there. Instead whereof let this supply the room. Measure for measure must be answered.
Bring forth that fatal screech owl to our house, that nothing sung but death to us and ours. Now death shall stop his dismal threatening sound, and his ill-boding tongue no more shall speak.
I think his understanding is bereft. Speak, Clifford. Dost thou know who speaks to thee? Dark, cloudy death o'ershades his beams of life, and he nor sees nor hears us what we say.
Oh, what he did. So perhaps he doth. 'Tis but his policy to counterfeit, because he would avoid such bitter taunts, which in the time of death he gave our father.
If so thou thinkst, vex him with eager words.
Clifford, ask for mercy and obtain no grace.
Clifford, repent in bootless penitence.
Clifford, devise excuses for thy faults,
while we devise fell tortures for thy faults.
Thou didst love York, and I am son to York.
Thou pitiedest Rutland. I will pity thee.
Where's Captain Margaret to fence you now?
They mock thee, Clifford. Swear as thou wast wont.
What? Not an oath? Nay, then the world goes hard when Clifford cannot spare his friends an oath. I know by that he's dead. And by my soul, if this right hand would buy 2 hours' life, that I, in all despite, might rail at him, this hand should chop it off, and with the issuing blood stifle the villain whose unstanched thirst York and young Rutland could not satisfy.
Aye, but he's dead. Off with the traitor's head, and rear it in the place your father stands, there to be crowned England's royal king. And now to London, there to be crowned England's royal king, from whence shall Warwick cut the sea to France and ask the Lady Bona for thy queen. So shalt thou sinnow both these lands together, and having France thy friend, thou shalt not dread the scattered foe, and that hopes to rise again from though they cannot greatly sting to hurt, yet look to have them buzz to offend thy ears. First I see the coronation, and then to Brittany I'll cross the sea, to effect the marriage, so please it, Lord.
Even as thou wilt, sweet Warwick, let it be. For in thy shoulder do I build my seat, and never will I undertake the thing wherein thy counsel and consent is wanting. Richard, I will create thee Duke of Gloucester, and George of Clarence. Warwick, as ourself, shall do and undo as him pleaseth best.
Let me be Duke of Clarence, George of Gloucester, for Gloucester's dukedom is too ominous.
Tut, that's a foolish observation. Richard be Duke of Gloucester. Now to London to see these honors in procession.
Under this thick-grown brake, we'll shroud ourselves, for through this lawn anon, the deer will come. And in this covert, we will make our stand, Colin, the principal of all deer.
I'll stay above the hill so both may shoot.
No. This cannot be. The noise of thy crossbow will scare the herd. And so my shoot is lost. Here, stand we both and aim we at the best. And for the time shall not seem tedious, I'll tell thee what befell me on a day in this self-same place. We are now meet to stand.
Here comes a man. Let's stay till he be passed.
From Scotland am I stolen, even of pure love, to greet mine own land with my wishful sight. No, Harry, 'tis no land of thine. Thy place is filled, thy scepter wrung from thee, thy balm washed off with where thou was anointed. No bending knee will call thee Caesar now. No humble suitors pressed to speak for right. No, not a man comes for redress of thee. For how can I help him and not myself?
Here's a deer whose skin's a keeper's fair. This is the goddamn king. Let's seize upon him.
Let me embrace thee, sour adversaries. For wise men say it is the wisest course.
Why linger we? Let us lay hands upon him.
Forbear a while. We'll hear him a little more.
My queen and son are gone to France for aid. And as I hear, the great commanding Warwick is thither gone to crave the French king's sister to wife for Edward. If this news be true, poor queen and son, your labor is but lost. For Warwick is a subtle orator, and Lewis a prince soon won with moving words. By this account then, Margaret may win him, for she's a woman to be pitied much. Her sighs will make a battery in his breast. Her tears will pierce into a marble heart. The tiger will be mild whilst she doth mourn, and Nero will be tainted with remorse to see her, to hear and see her plaints, her brinish tears. Aye, she's come to beg Warwick to give. She on his left side, craving aid for Henry, he on his right, asking a wife for Edward. She weeps and says her Henry is deposed. He smiles and says his Edward is installed, that she, poor wretch, for grief can speak no more. Whilst Warwick tells his title, smooths the wrong, infereth arguments of mighty strength, and in conclusion wins the king from her with promise of his sister, and what else? To strengthen and support King Edward's place. Oh, Margaret, thus 'twill be, and thou, poor soul, art then forsaken as thou once forlorn.
Say, what are thou talk'st of kings and queens?
More than I seem, and less than I was born to. A man at least, for less I should not be. And men may talk of kings, and why not I?
Aye, but thou talk'st as if thou wert a king.
Why, so I am, in mind, and that's enough.
But if thou be a king, where is thy crown?
My crown is in my heart, not on my head. Not decked with diamonds and Indian stones, nor to be seen. My crown is called content. A crown it is that seldom kings enjoy.
Well, if you be a king crowned with content, you're crowned content, and you must be contented to go along with us. For as we think, you are the king King Edward hath deposed, and we, his subjects, sworn in all allegiance, will apprehend you as his enemy.
But did you never swear and break an oath?
No, never such an oath, nor will not now.
Where did you dwell when I was king of England?
Here in this country where we now remain.
I was anointed king at 9 months old. My father and my grandfather were kings, and you were sworn true subjects unto me. And tell me, have you not broke your oaths?
No, for we were subjects, but well, you were king.
Why, am I dead? Do I not breathe a man? Ah, simple men, you know not what you swear. Look, as I blow this feather from my face, and the air blows it to me again, obeying with my wind when I do blow, and yielding to another when it blows, commanded always by the greater gust. Such is the lightness of you common men. But do not break your oaths, for of that sin my mild entreaty shall not make you guilty. Go where you will, the king shall be commanded. And be you kings, command and I'll obey.
We are true subjects to the king, King Edward.
So would you be again to Henry if he were seated as King Edward is?
No. We charge you in God's name and the king's to go with us unto the officers.
In God's name lead, your king's name be obeyed. And what God will, that let your king perform, and what he will, I humbly yield unto.
brother of Gloucester, at St. Albans Field, this lady's husband, Sir Richard Grey, was slain, his land seized on by the Conqueror. Her suit is now to repossess those lands, which we in justice cannot deny, because in quarrel of the House of York, the worthy gentleman did lose his life.
Highness shall do well to grant her suit. It were dishonor to deny it her.
It were no less, that yet I'll make a pause.
Yea, is it so? I see the lady hath a thing to grant before the king will grant her humble suit.
He knows the game, how true he keeps the wind.
Silence.
Widow, we will consider of your suit, and come some other time to know our mind.
Right, gracious lord, I cannot brook delay. May it please your highness to resolve me now, and what your pleasure is shall satisfy me.
Then I'll warrant you all your lands, and if what pleases him shall pleasure you. Fight closer, or good faith, you'll catch a blow.
I fear her not, unless she chance to fall.
Oh, God forbid that, for he'll take vantages.
How many children hast thou, widow? Tell me.
I think he means to beg a child of her.
Hey, then with me, he'll rather give her 2.
3, my gracious lord.
Oh, you shall have 4, and you'll be ruled by him.
For pity they should lose their father's lands.
Be pitiful, dread lord, and grant it then.
Lords, give us leave. I'll try this widow's wit.
Aye, good leave have you, for you will have leave till youth take leave and leave you to the crutch.
Now, tell me, madam, do you love your children?
Aye, full as dearly as I love myself.
And would you not do much to do them good?
To do them good, I would sustain some harm.
Then get your husband's lands to do them good.
Therefore I came unto your majesty.
I'll tell you how these lands are to be got.
So shall you bind me to your highness's service.
What service wilt thou do me if I give them?
What you command that rests in me to do.
But you will take exceptions to my boon.
Oh, no, gracious lord, except I cannot do it.
Aye, but thou canst do what I mean to ask.
Why then I will do what your grace commands.
He plies her hard, and much rain wears the marble.
As red as fire? Nay, then her wax must melt.
Why, stop, my lord. Shall I not hear my task?
An easy task. 'Tis but to love a king.
That's soon performed, because I am a subject.
Why then thy husband's lands I freely give thee.
I take my leave with many thousand thanks.
The match is made. She seals it with a curtsy.
But stay thee. 'Tis the fruits of love, I mean.
The fruits of love I mean, my loving liege.
Aye, but I fear me in another sense. What love thinkst thou I sue so much to get?
My love till death, my humble thanks, my prayers, that love which virtue begs and virtue grants.
No, by my troth, I did not mean such love.
Why then you mean not as I thought you did.
But now you partly may perceive my mind.
My mind will never grant what I perceive your highness aims at, if I aim aright.
To tell thee plain, I aim to lie with thee.
To tell you plain, I had rather lie in prison.
Why then thou shalt not have thy husband's lands.
Why then mine honesty shall be my dower, for by that loss I will not purchase them.
Therein thou wrongst thy children mightily.
Herein your highness wrongs both them and me. But mighty lord, this merry inclination accords not with the sadness of my suit. Please you dismiss me, either with aye or no.
Aye, if thou wilt say aye to my request, no, if thou dost say no to my demand.
Then no, my lord. My suit is at an end.
The widow likes him not. She knits her brows.
He is the bluntest wooer in Christendom.
Her looks doth argue her replete with modesty. Her words doth show her wit incomparable. All her perfections challenge sovereignty. One way or other, she is for a king, and she shall be my love or else my queen. Say that King Edward take thee for his queen.
'Tis better said than done, my gracious lord. I am a subject fit to jest with all, but far unfit to be a sovereign.
Sweet widow, by my state I swear to thee, I speak no more than what my soul intends, and that is to enjoy thee for my love.
And that is more than I will yield unto. I know I am too mean to be your queen, yet too good to be your concubine.
You cavil, widow, I did mean my queen.
'Twill grieve your grace my son should call you father.
No more than when my daughters call thee mother. Thou art a widow, and thou hast some children, and by God's mother, I, being but a bachelor, have other son. Why, 'tis a happy thing to be the father unto many sons. Answer no more, for thou shalt be my queen.
The ghostly father now hath done his shrift.
When he was made a shriver, 'twas for a shift.
Brothers, you muse what chat we two have had.
Oh, the widow likes it not, for she looks very sad.
You'd think it strange if I should marry her.
To who, my lord?
Why, Clarence, to myself.
Well, that would be 10 days' wonder at the least.
That's a day longer than a wonder lasts.
By so much as the wonder in extremes.
Well, jest on, brothers. I can tell you both, her suit is granted for her husband's lands.
My gracious lord, Henry, your foe is taken and brought your prisoner to the palace gates.
See that he be conveyed unto the tower. And go we, brothers, to the man that took him to question of his apprehension. Widow, go you along. Lords, use her honorably.
Aye. Edward will use women honorably. Would he were wasted, marrow, bones, and all, that from his loins no hopeful branch may spring to cross me from the golden time I look for. And yet, between my soul's desire and me, the lustful Edward's title buried is Clarence, Henry, and his son, young Edward, and all the unlooked for issue of their bodies to take their rooms ere I can place myself. A cold premeditation for my purpose. Why then I do but dream of sovereignty, like one that stands upon a promontory and spies a far-off shore where he would tread, wishing his foot were equal with his eye, and chides the sea that sunders him from thence, saying he'll lade it dry to have his way. So do I wish the crown, being so far off. And so I chide the means that keeps me from it, and so I say, I'll cut the causes off, flattering me with impossibilities. My eyes too quick, my heart o'erweens too much, unless my hand in strength could equal them. Well, say there is no kingdom then for Richard. What other pleasure can the world afford? Oh, I'll make my heaven in a lady's lap, and deck my body in gay ornaments, and witch sweet ladies with my words and looks. Miserable thought, and more unlikely than to accomplish 20 golden crowns. Why, love forswore me in my mother's womb, and for I should not deal in her soft laws, she did corrupt frail nature with some bribe, to shrink mine arm up like a withered shrub, to make envious mountain on my back, where sits deformity to mock my body, to shape my legs of an unequal size, to disproportion me in every part, like to a chaos, or an unlicked bear whelp that carries no impression, like the dam. And am I then a man to be beloved? Monstrous fault to harbor such a thought. And since this world affords no joy to me but to command, to check, to o'erbear such as are of a better person than myself, I'll make my heaven to dream upon the crown. And whilst I live, to account this world but hell, until my misshaped trunk that bears his head be round, impaled with glorious crown. Yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and my home, and I, like one lost in the thorny wood that rents the thorns and is rent with the thorns, seeking a way and straying from the way, not knowing how to find the open air, but toiling desperately to find it out, torment myself to catch the English crown, and from that torment I will free myself, or hew my way out with the bloody axe. Oh, I can smile and murder whilst I smile, and cry content to that which grieves my heart, and oh, wet my cheeks with artificial tears, and frame my face for all occasions. Oh, I'll drown more sailors than the mermaid shall. I'll slay more gazers than the basilisk. I'll play the orator as well as Nestor, deceive more slyly than Ulysses could, and like a Cynon, take another Troy. I can add colors to the chameleon. Change shapes with Proteus for advantages, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do this and cannot get a crown? Were it farther off, I'd pluck it down.
Fair Queen of England, worthy Margaret, sit down with us. It ill befits thy state and birth that thou shouldst stand while loose dost sit.
Oh, mighty King of France, now Margaret must strike her sail and learn a while to serve where kings command. I was, I must confess, great Albion's queen in former golden days, but now mischance hath trod my title down, and with dishonor laid me on the ground, where I must take like seat unto my fortune.
and to my humble seat conform myself.
Why, say, fair queen, whence springs this deep despair?
From such a cause as fill my eyes with tears, and stops my tongue where heart is drowned in cares.
Whate'er it be thou still like thyself, and sit thee by our side. Yield not thy neck to fortune's yoke, but let thy dauntless mind still ride in triumph over all mischance. Be plain, Queen Margaret, and tell thy grief. It shall be eased if France can yield relief.
Those gracious words revive my drooping thoughts and give my tongue-tied sorrows leave to speak. Now, therefore, be it known to noble Louis that Henry, sole possessor of my love, is of a king, become a banished man, and forced to live in Scotland forlorn, while proud ambitious Edward, Duke of York, usurps the regal title and the seat of England's true anointed lawful king. This is the cause that I, poor Margaret, with this my son, Prince Edward, Henry's heir, am come to crave thy just and lawful aid. And if thou fail us, all our hope is done. Scotland hath will to help, but cannot help. Our people and our peers are both misled, our treasures seized, our soldiers put to flight. And as thou seest, ourselves in heavy plight.
Renowned queen, with patience calm the storm, while we bethink a means to break it off.
The more we stay, the stronger grows our foe.
The more I stay, the more I'll succor thee.
Oh, but impatience waiteth on true sorrow, and see where comes the breeder of my sorrow.
What's he approacheth boldly to our presence?
Our Earl of Warwick, Edward's greatest friend.
Welcome, brave Warwick. What brings thee to France?
Now begins a second storm to rise, for this is he that moves both wind and tide.
From worthy Edward, King of Albion, my lord and sovereign, and thy vowed friend, I come in kindness and unfeigned love. First, to do greetings to thy royal person, and then to crave a league of amity, and lastly, to confirm that amity with nuptial knot. If thou vouchsafe to grant that virtuous Lady Bona, thy fair sister, to England's king in lawful marriage.
If thou go forward, Henry's hope is done.
And gracious madam, in our king's behalf, I am commanded, with your leave and favor, humbly to kiss your hand, and with my tongue to tell the passion of my sovereign's heart, where fame, late entering at his heedful ears, hath placed thy beauty's image and thy virtue.
King Louis and Lady Bona, hear me speak before you answer, Warwick. His demand springs not from Edward's well-meant, honest love, but from deceit bred by necessity. For how can tyrants safely govern home unless abroad they purchase great alliance? To prove him tyrant, this reason may suffice that Henry liveth still. But were he dead, yet here Prince Edward stands, King Henry's son. Therefore, Louis, that by this league and marriage, though draw not on thy danger and dishonor, for though usurper sway the rule a while, yet heavens are just, and time suppresseth wrongs.
Injurious Margaret.
And why not queen?
Because thy father Henry did usurp, and thou no more art prince than she is queen.
Then Warwick disannuls great John of Gaunt, which did subdue the greatest parts of Spain. And after John of Gaunt, Henry IV, whose wisdom was a mirror to the wisest. And after that, wise prince Henry V, who by his prowess conquered all of France. From these, our Henry lineally descends.
Oxford, how haps it in thy smooth discourse? You did not tell of how Henry VI hath lost all that Henry V had gotten. Methinks these peers in France should smile at that. But for the rest, you tell a pedigree of 62 years, a silly time to make prescription for a kingdom's worth.
Why, Warwick, canst thou speak against thy liege, whom thou abates 36 years, and not bewray thy treason with a blush?
Can Oxford, that did ever fence the right, now buckler falsehood with the pedigree? For shame. Leave Henry and call Edward king.
Call him my king, by whose injurious doom my elder brother, the Lord Aubrey there, was done to death. And more so my father, even in the downfall of his mellowed years, when nature brought him to the door of death. No, Warwick. No. While life upholds this arm upholds the house of Lancaster.
And I the house of York.
Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, and Oxford vouchsafe at our request to stand aside while I use further conference with Warwick.
Oh, God, heavens grant that Warwick's words bewitch him not.
Now, Warwick, tell me, even upon thy conscience, is Edward your true king, forever loath to link with him that were not lawful chosen?
Thereon I pawn my credit and mine honor.
But is he gracious in the people's eye?
The more that Henry was unfortunate.
Then further, all dissembling aside, tell me for truth the measure of his love unto our sister Bona.
Such it seems, and may beseem a monarch like himself. Myself have oft heard him say and swear, whereof the root, that his love was an eternal plant, whereof the root was fixed in virtue's ground, the leaves and fruit maintained with beauty's sun, exempt from envy, but not from disdain, unless the Lady Bona quit his pain.
Now, sister, let us hear your firm resolve.
Your grant or your denial shall be mine. Yet I confess that often ere this day, when I have heard your king's desert recounted, mine ear hath tempted judgment to desire.
Then Warwick thus, our sister shall be Edward's, and now forthwith shall articles be drawn touching the jointure that your king must make, which with her dowry shall be counterpoised. Draw near, Queen Margaret, and be a witness that Bona shall be wife to the English king.
To Edward, but not to the English king.
Oh, Warwick, it was thy device by this alliance to make void my suit. Before thy coming, Louis was Henry's friend.
And still is friend to him and Margaret, but if your title to the crown be weak, as may appear by Edward's good success, then 'tis but reason that I be released from giving aid which late I promised. Yet shall you have all kindness at my hand that your estate requires, and mine can yield.
Henry now lives in Scotland, at his ease, where having nothing can lose. As for yourself, our quondam queen, you have a father able to maintain you, and better 'twere you troubled him than France.
Peace, impudent and shameless Warwick! Proud set her up and pull her down of kings! I will not hence, till with my talk and tears both full of truth I may King Louis behold the sly conveyance and thy lord's false love, for both of you are birds of self-same feather.
Warwick, this is some post to us or thee.
My lord ambassador, these letters are for you, sent from your brother Marquess Montague. These from our king unto your majesty, and madam, these for you from whom I know not.
I like it well that our fair queen and mistress smiles at her news while Warwick frowns at his.
Nay, mark how Lewis stamps as he were nettled. I hope all's for the best.
O Warwick, what are thy news, and yours, fair queen?
Mine such as fill my heart with unhopped joys.
Mine full of sorrow and heart's discontent.
What? Has your king married the Lady Grey? And now to soothe your forgery and his sends me a paper to persuade me patience? Is this the alliance that he seeks with France? Dare he presume to scorn us in this manner?
I told your majesty as much before. This proveth Edward's love and Warwick's honesty.
King Lewis, I here protest in sight of heaven and by the hope that I have of heavenly bliss, that I am clear from his misdeeds of Edward's. No more my king, for this king of dishonors me, but most himself, if I could see his shame. Did I forget that by the house of York my father came untimely to his death? Did I let pass the abuse done to my niece? Did I impale him with the regal crown? Did I put Henry from his native right? Shame on himself. For my desert his honor, and to repair mine honor lost from him, I hereby renounce him and return to Henry. My noble queen, let former grudges pass, and henceforth I am thy true servitor. I will revenge his wrong to Lady Bona and replant Henry in his former state.
Warwick, these words have turned my hate. And I forgive and quite forget old faults and joy that thou becomes King Henry's friend.
So much his friend, I his unfeigned friend, that a King Luce vouchsafe to furnish us with some few bands of chosen soldiers, I'll undertake to land them on our coast and force the tyrant from his seat by war. 'Tis not his new-made bride shall succor him. And as for Clarence, as my letters tell me, he's very likely now to fall from him, for matching more for wanton lust and honor, and then for strength and safety of our country.
Dear brother, how shall Bona be revenged but by thy help to this distressed queen?
Renowned prince, how shall poor Henry live unless thou rescue him from foul despair?
My quarrel and this English queen's are one.
And mine, fair Lady Bona, joins with yours.
And mine with hers, and thine and Margaret's. Therefore at last I am firmly resolved, you shall have aid.
Give humble thanks for all at once.
Then England's messenger return in post, and tell false Edward, thy supposed king, that Luce of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride. Thou seest what's past. Go fear thy king withal.
Tell him, in hope he'll prove a widower shortly, I wear the willow garland for his sake.
Tell him my mourning weeds are laid aside, and I am ready to put armor on.
Tell him for me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it be long. There's thy reward. Be gone.
But Warwick, thou and Oxford with 5,000 men shall cross the seas and bid false Edward battle. And as occasion serves, this noble queen and prince shall follow with a fresh supply. Yet ere thou go, but answer me one doubt. What pledge have we of thy firm loyalty?
This shall assure my constant loyalty, that if our queen and this young prince agree, I'll join my eldest daughter and my joy to him forthwith in holy wedlock bands.
Yes, I agree. And thank you for your motion. Son Edward, she is fair and virtuous. Therefore delay not, give thy hand to Warwick, and with thy hand, thy faith irrevocable, that only Warwick's daughter shall be thine.
Yes, I accept her, for she well deserves it, and here to pledge my vow, you give my hand.
Why stay we now? These soldiers shall be levied, and thou, Lord Bourbon, our high admiral, shall waft them over with our royal fleet. I long till Edward fall by war's mischance for mocking marriage with a dame of France.
I came from Edward as ambassador, but I return his sworn and mortal foe. Matter of marriage was the charge he gave me. The dreadful war shall answer his demand. Had he none else to make stale but me, then none but I shall turn his jest to sorrow. I was the chief that raised him to the crown, and I'll be chief to bring him down again. Not that I pity Henry's misery, but seek revenge on Edward's mockery.
Now, tell me, brother Clarence, what think you of this new marriage with the Lady Grey? Hath not our brother made a worthy choice?
Alas, 'tis far from hence to France. How could he stay till Warwick made return?
My lords, forbear this talk. Here comes the king.
And his well-chosen bride.
I mind to tell him plainly what I think.
Now, brother of Clarence, how like you our choice that you stand pensive as half malcontent?
As well as Louis of France or the Earl of Warwick, which are so weak of courage and in judgment that they'll take no offense at our abuse.
Suppose they take offense without a cause. They are but Louis and Warwick. I am Edward, your king and Warwick's, and must have my will.
And shall have your will, because our king. Yet hasty marriage seldom proveth well.
Yea, brother Richard, are you offended too?
Not I, no. God forbid that I should wish them severed whom God hath joined together. Aye, and 'twere pity to sunder them that yoke so well together.
Setting your scorns and your mislike aside, tell me some reason why the Lady Grey should not become my wife and England's queen. And you too, Somerset and Montague, speak freely what you think.
Then this is mine opinion, that King Louis becomes your enemy for mocking him about the marriage of the Lady Bona.
And Warwick, doing what you gave in charge, is now dishonored by this new marriage.
What if both Louis and Warwick be appeased by such invention as I can devise?
Yet to have joined with France in such alliance would more have strengthened this our commonwealth against foreign storms than any homebred marriage.
Why, knows not Montague that of itself England is safe, if true within itself?
But safer when 'tis backed with France.
'Tis better using France than trusting France. Let us be backed with God and with the seas, which he hath given for fence impregnable, and with their helps only defend ourselves. In them and in ourselves our safety lies.
For this one speech, Lord Hastings well deserves to have the air of the Lord Hungerford.
Aye, what of it? It was my will and grant, and for this once my will shall stand for law.
Yet methinks your grace hath not done well to give the heir and daughter of Lord Scales unto the brother of your loving bride. She better would have fitted mere Clarence, but in your bride you bury brotherhood.
Or else you would not have bestowed the heir of the Lord Bonville on your new wife's son and leave your brothers to go speed elsewhere.
Alas, poor Clarence, is it for a wife that thou art malcontent? I will provide thee.
In choosing for yourself, you showed your judgment, which being shallow, you shall give me leave to play the broker in mine own behalf. And to that end, I shortly mind to leave you.
Leave me or tarry, Edward will be king, and not be tied unto his brother's will.
My lords, before it pleased his majesty to raise my state to title of a queen, do me but right. And you must all confess that I was not ignoble of descent, and meaner than myself have had like fortune. But as this title honors me and mine, so your dislikes to whom I would be pleasing doth cloud my joys with danger and with sorrow.
My love, forbear to fawn upon their frowns. What danger or what sorrow can befall thee so long as Edward is thy constant friend and their true sovereign whom they must obey? Nay, whom they shall obey and love thee too, unless they seek for hatred at my hands, which if they do, yet will I keep thee safe, and they shall feel the vengeance of my wrath.
I hear, yet say not much, but think the more.
Now, messenger, what letters or what news from France?
My sovereign liege, no letters and few words, but such as I, without your special pardon, dare not relate.
Go to, we pardon thee. Therefore, in brief, tell me their words as near as thou canst guess them. What answer makes King Louis unto our letters?
At my depart, these were his very words. Go tell false Edward, the supposed king, that Louis of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride.
Is Louis so brave? Belike he thinks me Henry. But what said Lady Bona to my marriage?
These were her words, uttered with mild disdain. Tell him in hope he'll prove a widower shortly. I'll wear the willow garland for his sake.
I blame not her. She could say little less. She had the wrong. But what said Henry's queen? For I have heard she was there in place.
Tell him, quoth she, my mourning weeds are done, and I am ready to put armor on.
Belike she minds to play the Amazon. But what said Warwick to these injuries?
He, more incensed against your majesty than all the rest, discharged me with these words. Tell him from me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it be long.
Durst the traitor breathe out so proud words? Well, I will arm me. Being thus forewarned, they shall have wars and pay for their presumption. But say, is Warwick friends with Margaret?
Aye, gracious sovereign, they are so linked in friendship that young Prince Edward marries Warwick's daughter.
Belike the elder, Clarence will have the younger. Now, brother king, farewell, and sit you fast, for I will hence to Warwick's other daughter, that though I want a kingdom, yet in marriage I may not prove inferior to yourself. You that love me in Warwick, follow me.
Not I. My thoughts aim at a further matter. I stay not for the love of Edward, but the crown.
Clarence and Somerset both gone to Warwick. Yet am I armed against the worst can happen, and haste is needful in this desperate case. Pembroke and Stafford, You, in our behalf, go levy men and make prepare for war. They are already or quickly will be landed. Myself in person will straight follow you. But ere I go, Hastings and Montague, resolve my doubt. You twain, of all the rest, are near to Warwick by blood and by alliance. Tell me, if you love Warwick more than me. If it be so, then both depart to him. I rather wish you foes than hollow friends. But if you mind to hold your true obedience, give me assurance with some friendly vow that I may never have you in suspect.
So God help Montague as he proves true.
And Hastings as he favors Edward's cause.
Now, Brother Richard, will you stand by us?
Aye, in despite of all that shall withstand you.
Why so? Then I am sure of victory. Now therefore let us hence, and lose no hour till we meet Warwick with his foreign power.
Trust me, my lord, all hitherto goes well. The common people by numbers swarm to us. But see where Somerset and Clarence comes. Speak suddenly, my lords. Are we all friends?
Fear not that, my lord.
There, gentle Clarence. Welcome unto Warwick, and welcome Somerset. I hold it cowardice to rest mistrustful, where a noble heart hath pawned an open hand in sign of love. Else might I think that Clarence, Edward's brother, were but a feigned friend to our proceedings. But welcome, sweet Clarence, my daughter shall be thine. And now what rests but in night's coverture, thy brothers being carelessly encamped, his soldiers lurking in the town about, and but attended by a simple guard. We may surprise and take him at our pleasure. Our scouts have found adventure very easy. That is, Ulysses and stout Diomed, with sleight and manhood, stole to Rhesus's tent and brought from thence Thracian fatal steeds. So we, well covered in the night's black mantle, at unawares may beat down Edward's guard and seize himself. I say not slaughter him, for I intend but only to surprise him. You that will follow me to this attempt, applaud the name of Henry with your leader.
Henry!
Why then let us on our way in silent sword. For Warwick and his friends, God and St. George.
Come on, my masters, each man take his stand. The king by this has set him down to sleep.
What? Really not to bed?
Why, no, for he hath made a solemn vow never to lie and take his natural rest till Warwick or himself be quite suppressed.
Tomorrow then belike shall be the day, if Warwick be so near as men report.
Yeah.
But say, I pray, what nobleman is that with the king here resteth in his tent?
'Tis the Lord Hastings, the king's chiefest friend.
Oh, is it so? But why commands the king that his chief followers lodge in towns about him, while he himself keeps in the cold field?
'Tis more the honor, because more dangerous.
But give me worship and quietness. I like it better than a dangerous honor. If Warwick knew in what estate he stands, 'tis to be doubted he would waken him.
Unless our halberds did shut up his passage.
Aye, wherefore else guard we his royal tent, but to defend his person from night foes.
Indeed.
This is his tent. See where stand his guard. Courage, my masters. Honor now or never, but follow me, and Edward shall be ours.
Who goes there?
Stay, or thou diest.
Warwick!
Warwick!
Arm! 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 Arm!
What are they that fly there?
Richard and Hastings, let them go. Here is the Duke.
The Duke? Why, Warwick, when we parted, thou calledst me king.
Aye, but the case is altered. When you disgraced me in my embassade, then I degraded you from being king, and come now to create you Duke of York. Alas, how should you govern any kingdom that know not how to use ambassadors, nor know how to be contented with one wife, nor how to use your brothers brotherly, nor how to study people for the people's welfare, nor how to shroud yourself from enemies?
Yea, brother Clarence, art thou here too? Nay, then I see that Edward needs must down. Yet Warwick, in despite of all mischance, of thee thyself and all thy accomplices, Edward will always bear himself as king. Though fortune's malice overthrow my state, my mind exceeds the compass of her wheel.
Then for his mind, be Edward England's king. But Henry now shall wear the English crown, and be the true king indeed, thou but the shadow. My lord of Somerset, at my request, see that forthwith Duke Edward be conveyed unto my brother, Archbishop of York. When I have fought with Pembroke and his fellows, I'll follow you and tell what answer Luce and the Lady Bona send to him. Now, a while farewell, good Duke of York.
What fates impose, that men must needs abide, it boots not to resist, both wind and tide.
What now remains, my lords, for us to do but march to London with our soldiers?
Aye, that's the first thing that we have to do, to free King Henry from imprisonment and see him seated in the regal throne.
Madam, what makes you in this sudden change?
My brother Rivers, are you yet to learn that what late misfortune has fallen on King Edward?
What? A loss of some pitched battle against Warwick?
No, but the loss of his own royal person.
Then is my sovereign slain?
Almost slain, for he is taken prisoner, either betrayed by falsehood of his guard or by his foe surprised at unawares. As I have further have to understand, is new committed to the Bishop of York, fell Warwick's brother, and by that our foe.
These news, I must confess, are full of grief, yet, gracious madam, bear it as you may, Warwick may lose, that now hath won the day.
Till then fair hope must hinder lives' decay, and I the rather wane me from despair for love of Edward's offspring in my womb. This is it that makes me bridle passion. I bear with mildness my misfortunes cross I for this I draw in many a tear and stop the rising of my blood-sucking sighs, lest with the sighs or tears I blast or drown King Edward's fruit, true heir to the English crown.
But madam, where is Warwick then become?
I am informed that he comes towards London to set the crown on once more on Henry's head. Guess thou the rest. King Edward's friends must down, but to prevent the tyrant's violence, for trust not him that hath broken faith. I'll henceforth with unto sanctuary to save at least the heir of Edward's right. There shall I rest secure from force and fraud. Come, therefore, let us fly while we may fly. Fork take us ere we are sure to die.
My Lord Hastings and Sir William Stanley, leave off to wonder why I drew you hither into this chiefest thicket in the park. Thus stands the case. You know our king, my brother, is prisoner to the bishop here, at whose hands he hath good usage and great liberty, and often, but attended with weak guard, comes hunting this way to disport himself. I have advertised him by secret means, that if about this hour he make this way, under the color of his usual game, he shall here find his friends with horse and men to set him free from his captivity.
This way, my lord, for this way lies the game.
Nay, this way, man. See where the huntsmen stand. Now, brother of Gloucester, Lord Hastings and the rest, stand you thus close to steal the bishop's deer?
Brother, the time in case requireth haste, your horse stands ready at the park corner.
But whither shall we then?
To Lynn, my lord, and shipped from thence to Flanders.
Well guessed, believe me, for that was my meaning.
Stanley, I will requite thy forwardness.
But wherefore stay we? 'Tis no time to talk.
Huntsman, what sayest thou? Wilt thou go along?
Oh, better to do so than tarry and be hanged.
Come, then, away. Let's have no more ado.
Bishop, farewell. Shield thee from Warwick's frown, and pray that I may repossess the crown.
Master Lieutenant, now that God and friends have shaken Edward from the regal seat and turned my captive state to liberty, my fear to hope, my sorrows unto joys, at our enlargement, what are thy due fees?
Subjects may challenge nothing of their sovereigns. But if a humble prayer may prevail, I then crave pardon of your majesty.
For what, Lieutenant? For well using me? Nay, be thou sure I will requite thy kindness, for that it made my imprisonment a pleasure. Aye, such a pleasure as encaged birds conceive when after many moody thoughts at last by notes of household harmony they quite forget the loss of liberty. But Warwick, after God, thou settest me free. And chiefly therefore I thank God and thee. He was the author, thou the instrument. Therefore that I may conquer fortune's spite by living low, where fortune cannot hurt me, and that the people of this blessed land may not be punished with my thwarting stars. Warwick, although my head still wear the crown, I here resign my government to thee, for thou art fortunate in all thy deeds.
Your grace hath still been famed for virtuous, and now may seem as wise as virtuous, by spying and avoiding fortune's malice, for few men rigidly temper with the stars. Yet in this one thing, let me blame your grace, for choosing me when Clarence is in place.
No, Warwick, thou art worthy of the sway to whom the heavens in thy nativity adjudged an olive branch and laurel crown, as likely to be blessed in peace and war, and therefore I yield thee my free consent.
And I choose Clarence only for protector.
Warwick and Clarence, give me both your hands. Now join your hands, and with your hands your hearts, that no dissension hinder government. I make you both protectors of this land. while I myself will lead a private life, and in devotion spend my latter days to sin's rebuke and my Creator's praise.
What answers Clarence to his sovereign's will?
That he consents, if Warwick yield consent, for on thy fortune I repose myself.
Why then, though loath, yet must I be content, we'll yoke together, and like a double shadow to Henry's body, and supply his place. I mean, in bearing weight of government, while he enjoys the honor and his ease. And Clarence, now then, it is more than needful forthwith that Edward be pronounced a traitor, and all his lands and goods confiscate.
What else? And that succession be determined.
And therein Clarence shall not want his part.
But with the first of all your chief affairs, let me entreat. For I command no more, that Margaret, your queen, and my son Edward be sent for, to return from France with speed. For till I see him here, by doubtful fear, my joy of liberty is half eclipsed.
It shall be done, my sovereign, with all speed.
My lord of Somerset, what youth is that of whom you seem to have so tender care?
My liege, it is young Henry, Earl of Richmond.
Come hither. England's hope. Its secret powers suggest but truth to my divining thoughts. This pretty lad will prove our country's bliss. His looks are full of peaceful majesty, his head by nature framed to wear a crown, his hand to wield a scepter, and himself likely in time to bless a regal throne. Make much of him, my lords, for this is he must help you more than you are hurt by me.
What news, my friend?
That is, Edward is escaped from your brother and fled as he here since to Burgundy.
Unsavory news, but how made he escape?
Oh, he was conveyed by Richard, Duke of Gloucester, and the Lord Hastings, who attended him in secret ambush on the forest side, and from the bishop's huntsmen rescued him, for hunting was his daily exercise.
My brother was too careless of his charge. But let us hence, my sovereign, to provide a salve for any sore that may be tied.
My lord, I like naught of this flight of Edward's, for doubtless Burgundy will yield him help, and we shall have more wars before it be long. As Henry's late presaging prophecy did glad my heart with hope of this young Richmond, so doth my heart misgive me, in these conflicts, what may befall him, to his harm and ours. Therefore, Lord Oxford, prevent the worst, forthwith will send him hence to Brittany, till storms be past of civil enmity.
Aye, for if Edward repossess the crown, 'tis like that Richmond with the rest shall down.
It shall be so. He shall to Brittany. Come, therefore, let's about it speedily.
Now, brother Richard, Lord Hastings and the rest, yet thus far fortune maketh us amends, and says that once more I shall interchange my waned state for Henry's regal crown. Well have we passed and now repassed the seas and brought desired help from Burgundy. What then remains, we are being thus arrived from Ravensburg haven before the gates of York. but that we enter as into our dukedom.
The gates made fast, brother. I like not this, for many men that stumble at the threshold are well foretold that danger lurks within.
Tush, man, abodements must not now affright us. By fair or foul means we must enter in, for hither will our friends repair to us.
My liege, I'll knock once more to summon them.
My lords, we were forewarned of your coming and shut the gates for safety of ourselves, for now we owe allegiance unto Henry.
But, Master Mayor, if Henry be your king, yet Edward at the least is Duke of York.
True, my good lord, I know you for no less.
Why, and I challenge nothing but my dukedom, as being well content with that alone.
When the fox hath got once in his nose, he'll soon find means to make the body follow.
Why, Master Mayor, why stand you in a doubt? Open the gates. We are King Henry's friends.
I say you so. The gates shall then be opened.
A wise stout captain, and soon persuaded.
The good old man would fain that all were well, so 'twere not long of him. But being entered, I doubt not I, but we shall soon persuade both him and all his brothers unto reason.
So, Master Mayor, these gates must not be shut, but in the night or in the time of war. What? Fear not, man, but yield me up the keys. For Edward will defend the town and thee, and all those friends that deign to follow me.
Brother, this is Sir John Montgomery, our trusty friend, unless I be deceived.
Oh, welcome, Sir John. But why come you in arms?
To help King Edward in his time of storm, as every loyal subject ought to do.
Thanks, good Montgomery. But we now forget our title to the crown, and only claim our dukedom till God please to send the rest.
Then fare you well, for I will hence again. I came to serve a king, and not a duke. Drummer, strike up, and let us march away.
Nay, stay, Sir John, a while, and we'll debate by what safe means the crown may be recovered.
What talk you of debating? In few words, if you'll not here proclaim yourself our king, I'll leave you to your fortune and be gone, to keep them back that come to succor you. Why shall we fight if you pretend no title?
My brother, wherefore stand you on nice points?
When we grow stronger, then we'll make our claim. Till then, 'tis wisdom to conceal our meaning.
Away with scrupulous wit, now arms must rule.
And fearless minds climb soonest unto crowns. Brother, we will proclaim you out of hand. The bruit thereof will bring you many friends.
Then be it as you will, for 'tis my right. And Henry but usurps the diadem.
Aye, now my sovereign speaketh like himself, and now will I be Edward's champion.
Sound, trumpet. Edward shall be here proclaimed. Come, fellow soldier, make thou proclamation.
Edward the Fourth, by the grace of God, King of England and France, and Lord of Ireland.
And whosoe'er gainsays King Edward's right, by this challenge him to single fight.
Long live
Edward
the
Fourth!
Fourth!
Long live Edward the Fourth!
Thanks, brave Montgomery, and thanks unto you all. If fortune serve me, I'll requite this kindness. Now for this night let's harbor here in York, and when the morning sun shall raise his car above the border of this horizon, we'll forwards towards Warwick and his mates. For well I wot that Henry is no soldier. Ah, froward Clarence, how evil it beseems thee to flatter Henry and forsake thy brother. Yet as we may, we'll meet both thee and Warwick. Come on, brave soldiers, doubt not of the day, and that once gotten, doubt not of large pay.
What counsel, lords? Edward from Belgia with hasty Germans and blunt Hollanders hath passed in safety through the narrow seas, and with troops both doth march amain to London, and many giddy people flock to him.
Let's levy men and beat him back again.
A little fire is quickly trodden out, which being suffered rivers cannot quench.
In Warwickshire I have true-hearted friends, not mutinous in peace, yet bold in war. Those will I muster up, and thou, son Clarence, shall stir up Suffolk, Norfolk, and in Kent, the knights and gentlemen to come with thee. Thou, brother Montague, in Buckingham and Northampton, and in Leicestershire, shalt find men well inclined to hear what thou commandst. In Oxfordshire, brave Oxford, wondrous well beloved, shalt muster up thy friends. My sovereign, with the loving citizens, like to his island, girt in with the ocean, our modest Diane, circled with her nymphs, shall rest in London till we come to him. Fair lords, take leave and stand not to reply. Farewell, my sovereign.
Farewell, my Hector, and my Troy's true hope.
In sign of truth, I kiss your highness's hand.
Well-minded Clarence, be thou fortunate.
Oh, comfort, my lord. And so I take my leave.
And thus, I seal my truth and bid adieu.
Sweet Oxford, and my loving Montague, and all at once more, a happy farewell.
Farewell, sweet lords. Let's meet at Coventry.
Here at the palace I will rest a while. Cousin of Exeter, what thinks your lordship? Methinks the power that Edward hath in field should not be able to encounter mine.
The doubt is that he will seduce the rest.
That's not my fear. My meed hath got me fame. I have not stopped mine ears to their demands, nor posted off their suits with slow delays. My pity hath been balm to heal their wounds. My mildness hath allayed their swelling griefs. My mercy dried their water-flowing tears. I have not been desirous of their wealth, nor much oppressed with them with great subsidies, nor forward of revenge, though they much erred. Then why should they love Edward more than me? No, Exeter, these graces challenge grace. And when the lion fawns upon the lamb will never cease to follow him.
A Lancaster!
Lancaster!
A Lancaster!
Hark!
A
Hark,
Lancaster!
my lord! What shouts are these?
Seize on the shamefaced Henry, bear him hence, and once again proclaim us King of England. You are the fount that makes small brooks to flow. Now stops thy spring. My sea shall suck them dry and swell so much the higher by their ebb. Hence with him to the tower, let him not speak. And lords, towards Coventry bend we our course, where peremptory Warwick now remains. The sun shines hot, and if we use delay, cold-biting winter mars our hoped-for hay.
Away betimes, before his forces join and take the great-grown traitor unawares. Brave warriors, march amain towards Coventry.
Where's the post that came from valiant Oxford? How far hence is thy lord? Mine honest fellow.
By this at Dunsmore, marching hitherward.
How far off is our brother Montague? Where is this post that came from Montague?
By this at Daintree with a puissant troop.
Say, Somerville, what says my loving son? And by thy guess, how nigh is Clarence now?
At Frethem I did leave him with his forces, and do expect him here some 2 hours hence.
Then Clarence is at hand. I hear his drum.
Oh, it is not him, my lord. Here Frethem lies. The drum, your honor, hears marcheth from Warwick.
Who should that be? Be like unlooked for friends.
They are at hand, and you shall quickly know.
Go, trumpet, to the walls and sound a parle.
See how the surly Warwick mans the wall.
Oh, one bid spite his sportful Edward come. Where slept our scouts, or how were they seduced, that we could hear no news of his repair?
Now, Warwick, wilt thou ope the city gates, speak gentle words and humbly bend the knee, call Edward king, and at his hands beg mercy, and he shall pardon these outrages.
Nay, rather, wilt thou draw thy forces hence, confess who set thee up and plucked thee down, call Warwick patron, and be penitent? And thou shalt still remain the Duke of York.
I thought, at least, he would have said the king, or did he make the jest against his will?
It is not a dukedom, sir, a goodly gift.
Aye, by my faith, for a poor earl to give, I'll do thee service for so good a gift.
'Twas I that gave the kingdom to thy brother.
Why then 'tis mine, if but by Warwick's gift.
Thou art no Atlas for so great a weight, and, weakling, Warwick takes his gift again, and Henry is my king, Warwick his subject.
But Warwick's king is Edward's prisoner. And, gallant Warwick, do but answer this. What is the body when the head is off?
Oh, alas, that Warwick had no more forecast, but whilst he thought to steal the single 10, the king was slyly fingered from the deck. You left poor Henry at the bishop's palace, and 10 to 1 you'll meet him in the tower.
'Tis even so. Yet you are Warwick still.
Come, Warwick, take the time. Kneel down. Kneel down. Nay, when? Strike now, or else the iron cools.
I had rather chop off this hand and throw it at the other with thy face than bear so to bow to a sail to strike at thee.
Sail how thou canst. Have wind and tide thy friend. This hand, fast wound about thy coal-black hair, shall, whilst thy head is warm and new cut off, write in the dust this sentence with thy blood. Wind-changing Warwick now can change no more.
Oh, careful colors. See where Oxford comes.
Oxford for Lancaster.
The gates are open, let us enter too.
So other foes may set upon our backs. Stand we in good array, for they no doubt will issue out again and bid us battle. If not, the city being but of small defense, will quickly rouse the traitors in the same.
Oh, welcome, Oxford, for we want thy help.
Montague for Lancaster.
Thou and thy brother both shall buy this treason, even with the dearest blood your bodies bear.
The harder match, the greater victory. My mind presageth happy gain and conquest.
Somerset for Lancaster.
Oh, 2 of thy name, both Dukes of Somerset, have sold their lives unto the house of York, and thou shalt be the 3rd, and this sword hold.
And lo, where George of Clarence sweeps along a force enough to bid his brother battle, with whom an upright zeal to right prevails more than the nature of a brother's love. Come, Clarence, come. Thou wilt, if Warwick call.
Father of Warwick, know you what this means? Look here. I throw my infamy at thee. I will not ruinate my father's house, who gave his blood to lime the stones together and set up Lancaster. Why trowest thou, Warwick, that Clarence is so harsh, so blunt, unnatural, to bend the fatal instruments of war against his brother and his lawful king? Perhaps thou wilt object my holy oath. To keep that oath were more impiety than Jephthah when he sacrificed his daughter. I am so sorry for my trespass made, that to deserve well at my brother's hands, I here proclaim myself thy mortal foe. With resolution, wheresoe'er I meet thee, as I will meet thee, if thou stir abroad, to plague thee for thy foul misleading me. And so, proud-hearted Warwick, I defy thee, and to my brother turn my blushing cheeks. Pardon me, Edward. I will make amends. And Richard, do not frown upon my faults, for I will henceforth be no more unconstant.
Now welcome more. 10 times more beloved than if thou never hadst deserved our hate.
Welcome, good Clarence. This is brother-like.
Cursing traitor, perjured and unjust.
What, Warwick? Wilt thou leave the town and fight, or shall we beat the stones about thine ears?
Alas, I'm not cooped here for defense. I will away towards Barnet presently, and bid thee battle, Edward, if thou darest.
Yes, Warwick. Edward dares and leads the way. Lords, to the field! St. George and victory! So, lie thou there. Die thou, and die our fear. For Warwick was a bug that feared us all. Now, Montague, sit fast, I seek for thee, that Warwick's bones may keep thine company.
And who is aught? Come to me, friend or foe, and tell me who is victor, York or Warwick? I ask that. My mangled body shows my blood, my want of strength, my sick heart shows that I must yield my body to the earth, and by my fall the conquest to my foe. Thus yields the cedar to the axe's edge, whose arms gave shelter to the princely eagle, under whose shade the ramping lion slept, whose top branch o'erappeared Jove's spreading tree, and kept low shrubs from winter's powerful wind. These eyes that now are dimmed with death's black veil have been piercing as the midday sun to search secret treasons. These wrinkles in my brows now filled with blood were like oft to kingly sepulchres who lived king, but I could dig his grave, and who durst smile when Warwick bent his brow, though now glory smeared in dust and blood. My parks, my walks, my manners that I had even now forsake me. And for all my lands is nothing left but my body's length Why, what is pomp, rule, reign, but earth and dust? And live how we can, yet die we must.
Oh, Warwick, Warwick, wert thou as we are, we might recover all our loss again. The Queen from France hath brought a puissant power. Even now we heard the news. Couldst thou fly?
Why then, I would not fly. Ah, Montague, if thou be here, sweet brother, take my hand, and with thy lips keep in my soul a while. Thou lovest me not, for brother, if thou didst, thy tears would wash this congealed blood that glues my lips and will not let me speak. Come quickly, Montague, or I am dead.
Warwick, Montague hath breathed his last, and to the last gasp cried out for Warwick, and said, "Commend me to my valiant brother." And more he would have said, and more he spoke, which sounded like a cannon in a vault that ought not to be distinguished. But at last I might well hear, delivered with a groan, "Oh, farewell, Warwick."
Sweet, rest his soul. Fly, lords, and save yourselves, for Warwick bids you farewell, to meet in heaven.
Away to meet the Queen's great power.
Thus far our fortune keeps an upward course, and we are graced with wreaths of victory. But in the midst of this bright shining day I spy a black, suspicious, threatening cloud that will encounter with our glorious sun ere he attain his easeful western bed. I mean, my lords, those powers that the Queen hath raised in Gallia have arrived our coast, and as we hear, march on to fight with us.
A little gale will soon disperse that cloud and blow it to the source from whence it came. Thy very beams will dry those vapors up, for every cloud engenders not a storm.
The Queen is valued 30,000 strong, and Somerset with Oxford fled to her. If she have time to breathe, be well assured her faction will be full as strong as ours.
We are advertised by our loving friends that they do hold their course toward Tewkesbury. We, having now the best at Barnet Field, will thither straight, for willingness rids away. And as we march, our strength will be augmented in every county as we go along. Strike up the drum, cry courage, and away.
Great lords, wise men, ne'er sit and wail their loss, but cheerly seek how to redress their harms. Let though the mast be now blown overboard, the cable broke, the holding anchor lost, and half our sailors swallowed in the flood, yet lives our pilot still. Is it meet that he should leave the helm and, like a fearful lad, with tearful eyes add water to the sea and give more strength to that which hath too much? Whiles in his moan the ship splits on the rock, which industry and courage might have saved. Oh, what a shame. What a fault were this. Say Warwick was our anchor. What of that? And Montague, our topmast. What of him? Our slaughtered friends, the tackles. What of these? Why is not Oxford here, another anchor, and Somerset, another goodly mast? The friends of France, our shrouds and tacklings? And though unskillful, why not Ned and I for once allowed the skillful pilot's charge? We will not from the helm to sit and weep, but keep our course though the rough winds say no, from shells and rocks that threaten us with wrack. It's good to chide the waves as speak them fair. And what is Edward but a ruthless sea? What Clarence but a quicksand of deceit? And Richard but a ragged fatal rock. All these enemies to our poor bark. Say you can swim, alas, 'tis but a while. Tread on the sand, why, there you quickly sink. Bestride the rock, the tide will wash you off, or else you famish. That's a threefold death. This speak I, lords, to let you understand. If case some one of you would fly from us, that there's no hope for mercy with the brothers, more than with the ruthless waves, with sands and rocks. Why? Courage then! What cannot be avoided, 'twere childish weakness to lament or fear.
Methinks a woman of this valiant spirit should, if a coward heard her speak these words, infuse his breast with magnanimity and make him naked, foil a man at arms. I speak not this as doubting any here, for did I but suspect a fearful man, he should have leave to go away betimes, lest in our need he might infect another, and make him of like spirit to himself. If any such be here, as God forbid, let him depart before we need his help.
Women and children of so high a courage and warriors faint. Why, for perpetual shame. O brave young prince, thy famous grandfather doth live again in thee. Long mayst thou live to bear his image and renew his glories.
And he that will not fight for such a hope, go home to bed, and like the owl by day, if he arise, be mocked and wondered at.
Thanks, gentle Somerset. Sweet Oxford, thanks.
And take his thanks, that yet hath nothing else.
Prepare you, lords, for Edward is at hand, ready to fight, therefore be resolute.
I thought no less. It is his policy to haste thus fast to find us unprovided.
But he's deceived. We are in readiness.
This cheers my heart to see your forwardness.
Here pitch our battle, hence we will not budge.
Brave followers, yonder stands the thorny wood, which by the heavens' assistance and your strength must by the roots be hewn up yet ere night. I need not add more fuel to your fire, for well I wot you blaze to burn them out. Give signal to the fight, and to it, lords.
Lords, knights, and gentlemen, what I should say my tears gainsay, for every word I speak, yea, I see I drink the water of my eye. Therefore no more but this. Henry, your sovereign, is prisoner to the foe, his state usurped, his realm a slaughterhouse, his subjects slain, his statutes cancelled, and his treasure spent. And yonder is the wolf that makes this spoil. You fight injustice,
Then in God's name, lords, be valiant and give signal to the fight!
For York! For York! For York!
For York!
For York!
For York!
For York!
For York!
Now here a period of tumultuous broils. Away with Oxford to Hames Castle straight. For Somerset, off with his guilty head. Go, bear them hence, I will not hear them speak.
For my part, I'll not trouble thee with words.
Nor I, but stoop with patience to my fortune.
Part we sadly in this troublous world, to meet with joy in sweet Jerusalem.
Is proclamation made that who finds Edward shall have a high reward, and he his life?
It is. And lo, where youthful Edward comes,
bring forth the gallant. Let us hear him speak. What? And so young a thorn begin to prick? Edward, what satisfaction canst thou make for bearing arms, for stirring up my subjects, and all the trouble thou hast turned me to?
Speak like a subject proud, ambitious York. Suppose that I am now my father's mouth. Resign thy chair, and where I stand kneel thou, whilst I purpose the self-same words to thee, which, traitor, thou wouldst have me answer to.
Oh, that thy father had been so resolved.
you might still have worn the petticoat and ne'er have stolen the breech from Lancaster.
Let Aesop's fable in winter's night, his cherished riddle sorts not with this place.
By heaven, brat, oh, I'll plague thee for that word.
Aye, thou wast born to be a plague to men.
For God's sake, take away this captive scold.
Nay, take away this scolding crook back rather.
Peace, willful boy, or I will charm your tongue.
Untutored lad, thou art too malapert.
I know my duty. You are all undutiful. Lascivious Edward, and thou perjured Joy, and thou misshapen Dick, I tell ye all, I am your better. Traitors as ye are, and thou usurped my father's right and mine.
Take that, the likeness of this railer here.
Sprawlst thou? Take that to end thy agony!
And theirs for twitting me with perjury.
Kill me too!
Oh, Mary, and shall.
Hold, Richard, hold. We have done too much.
Why should she live? To fill the world with words.
What? Doth she swoon? Use me for her recovery.
Clarence, excuse me to King my brother. I'll hence to London on a serious matter. Ere you come there, be sure to hear some news.
What? What?
The tower! The tower!
Speak to my mother, boy. Canst thou not speak? God, traitors, murderers, that they that stabbed Caesar shed no blood at all, did not offend, nor were not worthy blame in this foul deed, or by to equal it. It was a man this in respect to child, and men ne'er spend their fury on a child. Oh, what's worse than murderer? That I may name it. Oh no. Oh, wait.
the heart will burst, and if I speak, and I will speak, that so my heart may burst. Butchers and villains, bloody cannibals, oh, how sweet a plant you have untimely cropped. You have no children, butchers, and if you had, the thought of them would have stirred up remorse. If you ever have chance to child, look in his youth, to have him so cut off as death's men. You have reared this sweet young prince.
Away with her. Go bear her hence perforce.
Nay, never hear me hence. Dispatch me here. Here, sheathe thy sword. Pardon thee, my death. What? Will thou not? Then Clarence, do it thou.
By heaven, I will not do thee so much ease.
Oh, good Clarence, do, sweet Clarence, do thou do it.
Didst thou not hear me swear I would not do it?
Aye, but thou usest to forswear thyself. 'Twas a sin before, but now 'tis charity. What wilt thou not? Where is that devil butcher? Hard-favored Richard. Richard, where art thou? Thou art not here. Murder is thy alms deed. Petitioners for blood thou ne'er putst back.
Away, I say. I charge ye bear her hence.
Also come to you. And yours. Best to this prince.
Where's Richard gone?
To London, all in post, and as I guess, to make a bloody supper in the Tower.
He's sudden, if a thing comes in his head. Now march we hence. Discharge the common sort with pay and thanks, and let's away to London, and see our gentle queen how well she fares. By this I hope she hath a son for me.
Good day, my lord. What are you at books so hard?
Aye, my good lord. My lord, I should say rather. 'Tis sin to flatter. Good was little better. Good Gloucester and good devil were alike, and both preposterous. Therefore, not good lord.
Sara, leave us to ourselves. We must confer.
So flies the reckless shepherd from the wolf. So first the harmless sheep doth yield his fleece, and next his throat unto the butcher's knife. What scene of death has Rocius now to act?
Suspicion always haunts a guilty mind. The thief doth fear each bush and officer.
The bird that hath been limed in a bush with trembling wings misdoubteth every bush. And I, the hapless male to one sweet bird, have now the fatal object in my eye, where my poor young was limbed, was caught and killed.
Why, what a peevish fool was that of Crete that taught his son the office of a fowl. And yet, for all his wings, the fool was drowned.
I, Daedalus, my poor boy Icarus, thy father Minos that denied our course, the sun that seared the wings of my sweet boy, thy brother Edward, and thyself, the sea, whose envious gulf did swallow up his life. Kill me with thy weapon, not with words. My breast can better brook thy dagger's point than mine ears that tragic history. But wherefore dost thou come? Is for my life.
Thinkst thou that I am an executioner?
A persecutor I am sure thou art. If murdering innocents be executing, why then thou art an executioner.
Thy son I killed for his presumption.
Hadst thou been killed when first thou didst presume, thou hadst not lived to kill a son of mine. And thus I prophesy that many 1,000 which now mistrust no parcel of my fear, and many an old man's sigh, and many a widow's, and many an orphan's water-standing eye, men for their sons, wives for their husbands, orphans for their parents' timeless death, shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born. The owl shrieked at thy birth, an evil sign. The night crow cried, a boding luckless time. Dogs howled, hideous tempest shook down trees. The raven rooked her on the chimney's top, and chattering pies in dismal discord sung. Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope. To wit, an indigested and deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a goodly tree. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world, and if the rest be true, which I have heard, thou camest.
I'll hear no more. Die, prophet, in thy speech. Die! For this, amongst the rest, was I ordained.
Aye, and for much more slaughter after this. Oh God, forgive my sins and pardon me.
What? Will the aspiring blood of Lancaster sink in the ground? Oh, I thought it would have mounted. See how my sword weeps for the poor king's death. Oh, may such purple tears be always shed from those that wish the downfall of our house. If any spark of life be yet remaining, down to hell, and say, I sent thee hither! I that have neither pity, love, nor fear. Indeed, 'tis true that Henry told me of. For I have often heard my mother say, I came into the world with my legs forward. Had I not reason, think ye, to make haste and seek their ruin that usurped our right? The midwife wondered, and the women cried, oh, Jesus, bless us, he is born with teeth. And so I was, which plainly signified that I should snarl and bite and play the dog. Then since the heavens have shaped my body's soul, let hell make crooked my mind to answer it. I have no brother. I am like no brother, and this word, love, which graybeards call divine, be resident in men like one another, and not in me. I am myself alone. Clarence, beware. Thou keepst me from the light, but I will sort a pitchy day for thee, for I will buzz abroad such prophecies that Edward shall be fearful of his life, and then to purge his fear, I'll be the death. King Henry and the prince are gone. Oh, Clarence. I turn is next, and then the rest. Oh, counting myself but bad till I be best. Well, I'll throw thy body in another room and triumph, Henry, in thy day of doom.
Once more we sit in England's royal throne, repurchased with the blood of enemies. What valiant foemen, like to autumn's corn, have we mowed down in tops of all their pride? 3 dukes of Somerset, threefold renowned for hardy and undoubted champions, 2 Cliffords as the father and the son, and 2 Northumberlands. 2 braver men ne'er spurred their coursers at the trumpet's sound. With them the 2 brave bears, Warwick and Montague, that in their chains fettered the kingly lion and made the forest tremble when they roared. Thus have we swept suspicion from our seat and made our footstool of security. Come hither, Bess, and let me kiss my boy. Young Ned, for thee, thine uncles, and myself have in our armors watched the winter's nights, went all afoot in summer's scalding heat, that thou mightst repossess the crown in peace, and of our labors thou shalt reap the gain.
I'll bless this harvest, and your head forelaid, for yet I am not looked on in the world. And this shoulder was ordained so thick to heave and heave, it shall some weight, or break my back. Work thou the way, and that shall execute.
Clarence and Gloucester, love my lovely queen, and kiss your princely nephew, brothers both.
The duty that I owe unto your majesty, I seal upon the lips of this sweet babe.
Thanks, noble Clarence, worthy brother, thanks.
That I love the tree from whence thou springst. Witness the loving kiss I give the fruit. To say the truth, so Judas kissed his master and cried, "All hail," when as he meant, "All harm."
Now am as I seated as my soul delights, having my country's peace and brother's loves.
What will your grace have done with Margaret? Renier, her father, to the king of France hath pawned the Sicils and Jerusalem. and hither have they sent it for her ransom.
Away with her, and waft her hence to France. And now what rests but that we spend the time with stately triumphs, mirthful comic shows, such as befits the pleasure of the court. Sound drums and trumpets. Farewell, Sauronoi, and here I hope begins our lasting joy.
What a funny story. Come on back, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This concludes the Henry part of the Henriad, but join us next Saturday because we're wrapping it up. Richard III, come on back.
Yay.